going to go ahead and get started. First of all, good morning. Welcome, and nice to have a little rain out there. Had some people that I was talking to up north, and they were getting rain, and they were complaining. And I said, well, we're not. We need it. So anyway, good to have everybody here. We will start with our invocation, led by Commissioner Nowicki, and then our pledge by Commissioner Latvala.
Heavenly Father, we come before you today, not out of routine, but out of need. Let your word remind us that to whom much is given, much is required. And Father, you have given us much. You have given us the privilege to serve. You have given us the responsibility to lead, and you have given us a duty not to ourselves, but to the people. So today, Lord, I ask you to search our hearts, strip away pride, strip away politics, strip away anything that would cause us not to choose what is easy over what is right. Just as days ago we celebrated the risen Christ, an empty tomb that reminds us that truth cannot be buried, light cannot be overcome, and sacrifice still matters. And Lord, as we watch the Artemis program push further into the heavens, returning mankind toward the moon, we are reminded the vastness of your creation, the limits of your own understanding, and our constant dependence on your grace for every safe return, every new beginning, and every step into the unknown. Let that truth sit heavy on us today, because leadership requires sacrifice. It requires courage, requires standing firm, even when it's unpopular. Father, let us not be leaders who drift with the moment, but leaders who stand on principle. Let us not seek applause, but accountability. Let us not fear criticism more than we fear failing the people we are elected to serve. Give us wisdom to make sound decisions, give us discernment to see clarity, and give us boldness to act with integrity. Lord, bless this board, protect this community, and guide every decision made in this hall today. And may everything we do reflect not our will, but yours. And we ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Nowicki. Commissioner Latvala. All right, we have three presentations and/or proclamations today, and we will start with the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, and I am sure that we have Michelle Peterson. Come on up, please, and our Director Judith Wyszynski. Yes. Thank you. Boy, that's second try. Good to have you here. Okay, they will be accepting the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Proclamation. Let's say a few words about the proclamation, and maybe you all say a few words as well, and then we'll take some pictures. Okay? Emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, and emergency medical services. When an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. The safety of our law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Emergency Communication Center. And I've done that before, and they're so calm. I'm like, hurry, hurry, hurry. And they're saying, no, calm, so it's great. Public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. Public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for the law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. public safety telecommunicators have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. Each public safety telecommunicator has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year, and we greatly appreciate their dedication. And now therefore be it proclaimed by the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners that the week of April 12th through April 18th, 2026 be recognized as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
See you. And this will be the proclamation. Give you a few minutes to say a couple words, and then we'll take a picture. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Lexi Baker. I am a radio and call taker communicator at Pinellas County 911. We are very grateful to receive the proclamation today. It's a great thing to be awarded for our job, especially with everything that we do for the county. So we're all very grateful as a whole center. And we just try our best to get the right people to the right place at the right amount of time every single day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Judith Wyszynski-Price. I'm the Division Director for Regional 911. And I just wanted to say that our public safety telecommunicators this past year processed almost 1 million calls and put in every effort and dedication to every single one of those calls. We're very proud of them and for their performance and their contribution to the public safety of the county. I also wanted to say thank you for the support and commitment that we get from the Board of County Commissioners and county administration. We are very grateful for the things that we are recognized for and the ability we are to get the tools that we need to do our job. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would just add that not only are they calm in their jobs, they're very professional in what they do. I got a tour of that probably a month ago now. But they just do such great work. And I've heard about this partnership with our animal services group, which they get to have one of the dogs come over, and during breaks they can enjoy the company of dogs. And so I think it's important that they stay relaxed and keep their stress levels down while they do their job for all of us. So thank all of them for us, please. We appreciate it. All right, guys and gals, come on up. We'll take a picture. Nope, see, I told you I had the wrong one. Give you the fair housing. Okay, thank you. Second proclamation is for Fair Housing Month, and Bettina Barron, the Director of Office of Human Rights, please come on up, and Jay Berkey, Compliance Manager, please come on up. I'm going to read the proclamation, and then the same kind of thing. We'll let you all say a few words, and then we'll have the picture. Nice to see you both. April 2026 marks the 58th anniversary of the signing of Title VIII of the 1968 Civil Rights Act as amended, which guarantees fair housing opportunities for all. And it has been 42 years since the adoption of Pinellas County's Fair Housing Ordinance. ensuring fair housing opportunities for all citizens of Pinellas County. Pinellas County is proud of its efforts to further fair housing for all residents and recognizes that this can only be accomplished through forging partnerships with individuals, profit and nonprofit organizations, and the corporate community. Supporting and promoting fair housing and equal opportunities contributes to the direct health of our county and encourages others to abide by the letter and the spirit of the federal fair housing and to continue to provide all citizens with fair housing opportunities. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners that Monday, April 26, be recognized as Fair Housing Month.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bettina Barron, the Director of the Pinellas County Office of Human Rights. We are grateful and thankful for you all today, and for Commissioner Eggers for presenting our proclamation. He has highlighted so many reasons why we have Fair Housing Month, and we just want to make sure that we thank our commissioners, the staff that we have in the office for continuously enforcing fair housing rights, educating our community on their rights as tenants, homeowners, and those that are unaware of the resources that they have available with the county. So we are soon to be celebrating 50 years, so we're excited about that, and we just thank you all for your support.
Okay, thank you. Now we get to do a partner presentation. And it's always great to have groups come in and talk about their business and about what they do for our community and how they interact with us as a commission and all of our staff. I don't think any of us could be more proud of this partner, Habitat for Humanity, who we have worked with for so long on so many different projects. I'm going to let them come up. Mike Sutton, President and Chief Executive Officer, please come on up. Anybody else you want to bring with you? When he's done with the presentation and the check and all that good stuff, then we'll come back up and take a picture, okay?
Sounds good.
It's all yours, right over here.
Wonderful. Well, good morning. It's so great to be before you this morning. We so much appreciate the partnership with Pinellas County. I cannot even put into words how phenomenal it has been for our organization to be able to work with the staff under Barry's team to help advance our mission throughout Pinellas County. Gonna just hit a couple highlights of what's happened with Habitat and with the affordable housing crisis in our community over the last 12 months. We're very excited. We've now served over 1,000, almost 1,050 families in our community with providing them their own opportunity to own a home in our community. We just recently celebrated our 1,000th home. Many of you were with us, and our 1,100th home is quickly approaching, which will be another great milestone. Really what differentiates Habitat from other affordable housing providers in our community, as well as banks, really is we really work to remove the barriers to home ownership for the families we partner with. So obviously they have the opportunity, they own the house. There's a lot of misconceptions out there that Habitat actually owns it. We are not a landlord. They actually purchase the home. And they do that with an affordable 0% mortgage. They have no down payment and no PMI required. So again, we're removing barriers. And as a result of that, they are able to build generational wealth through home ownership. We provide them 38 homebuyer education classes. Those homebuyer education classes are really designed to help them be successful as they own their home. So we teach them all kinds of things around budgeting and saving for the future, but also how to be a good neighbor, home maintenance and repair, fire and safety, everything you would need to know about owning a home. We also build our homes to be hurricane resistant, storm resistant. Very proud of the fact that through the 2 hurricanes that we recently saw just 2 short years ago, we had very, very little impact to Habitat homes. There were a handful of folks that had an insurance claim, but the majority of the homes really stood up to the storms, which was phenomenal and speaks volumes to the work that our volunteers and our staff do to build the homes. This gives you affordable housing at a glance right here. So we've compared an average Habitat home to a typical home that you would buy in Pinellas County. Typical home costs about $390,000 here in our community. Habitat home, our average sales price in 2025 was $233,000. Again, with no down payment and no interest rate, you can see that a monthly mortgage payment is about $650. The average home out on the marketplace with today's interest rate over 30 years with the required 10% down payment, you see that someone's going to pay about almost $2,400 a month for their mortgage payment. So with Habitat, there's a significant difference there. And through those classes I mentioned earlier, we teach the homeowner what to do with that significant savings they would have by buying a home through Habitat. Right now, about 51% of the families we serve are coming from the healthcare industry. And as you all know, a lot of businesses throughout Pinellas County and our region are really struggling to keep their employee base here. People are being priced out. They're leaving our state. They're leaving our region. But through the Habitat program, we were able to anchor over 90 families here in our community just this past year. And we look to do the same this year. So healthcare, education, school systems, and the government and public sector are really the areas where we're seeing the majority of our families coming through. Again, in Pinellas, although we've built nearly 1,050 homes in our service area, 952 of those have been in Pinellas County. We focus around the 30 to 80% area median income levels. I'm not sure that there's anyone else that's actually serving families between 30 and 80 through home ownership. You see a lot of rental, but we only focus around the home ownership piece. And 100% of the families we serve live or work in Pinellas County. Again, not folks that are moving into the community, but folks who already have a presence here. Little bit about the support from the county over the last year. 55 of the homes that we built were supported by Pinellas County government last year, whether it's reduced property costs or donated properties or properties that we got through the land trust. The average appraisal of those homes were about $371,000. I'm excited to stand here today and present you all with a check for about almost $2.4 million for property taxes in 2025. When we first started doing this presentation about 10 years ago, that first check, and Dave, I think Commissioner Eggers was on the commission at that time, was $387,000. So the impact that our homeowners are making just to the tax rolls, pretty significant. Here's a couple examples of some communities that you all have helped with. This was the very first affordable home ownership project where Penny for Pinellas dollars have gone to. You guys contributed $2 million to Long Lake Preserve over in Largo. We're nearing completion there, 54 units in total. 52 of those are townhomes and 2 single-family homes. It's a beautiful project. If you have not been out there, I know a number of you have been to some of our ribbon cuttings and the groundbreaking. We have a handful more families moving in June, and then we will be finished up in that neighborhood in August. However, we purchased the church property next door, where we will be building another 100 townhomes in the coming years. Pretty excited about that project. Dansville has really been a very proud partnership for our organization. We've done a lot of work in the Dansville community, and a lot of this has really been led through the work we did in the Dansville community on property the county had obtained after a no-name storm back in the 90s. We have now built 99 new homes in the Dansville community, and that's all happened within the last 7 to 8 years. Really exciting to see the transformation happen there. And Habitat's just, very excited to be a part of a lot of the work that's being done to really lift up the greater Dansville or greater Ridgecrest community. Two other projects that we have that are coming up or have broke ground. In Leelman Heights, thanks to the partnership with the county, we will be doing, I believe it's 57 total units, townhomes and single-family homes. Those are all in the land lease. And what's exciting is those first 8 homeowners will move into their homes in May. We do anticipate getting a handful more families into their homes by the end of December. And then Pelican Place is down in St. Petersburg. We did receive penny money for this project through the city. And Commissioner Flowers, you know all about this project. We've had some conversations about this. We're really looking to anchor folks in the CRA that are in St. Petersburg, providing them an opportunity to own their own townhome there. So this is right across the street from Tangerine Plaza, 40 townhomes. This project is underway. Lots of dirt getting moved and streets going in, all the infrastructure, and we do anticipate getting the first handful of families in there, hopefully by Christmas time. So a lot of exciting things going on at Habitat. And a lot of that is because of this amazing partnership we continue to have with the county. So I just want to say on behalf of Habitat for Humanity, thank you all for not only your service to the community, but also for the partnership with Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that presentation.
Awesome.
Anybody have any questions? Yeah, Commissioner Flowers.
Comment then question, I'm sorry. Good morning. Very grateful for Habitat for Humanity and what you're doing for infill housing in St. Petersburg. That does greatly impact the list of individuals that you placed up on the screen who they make above $9 an hour, some above 15, but still finding it difficult to be able to afford home ownership, let alone rental. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for venturing into the townhome aspect versus single-family home, because that opens up many more opportunities along the way. 2 questions, and really this is just so the public can get the information.
Sure.
The first is, I did notice that I didn't see a category for persons that were in the arena of housekeeping, hoteliers, persons working in restaurants who sometimes maybe make a little bit more depending on tips. But so are there any opportunities for persons that may fall within those realms when it comes to their income? Because they certainly would meet the guidelines.
Yeah, 100%, Commissioner. And really, at the end of the day, a lot of it, when folks are in tourism or hospitality, a lot of times where we struggle to get them qualified is really around verifiable income. So as long as they're paying their taxes and reporting properly, and we can qualify them with our banks, then yes, we can definitely serve them. We've also seen we haven't seen as many individuals or families from those areas applying to our program as we have historically. Healthcare is the area that's really boomed. I mean, we have nurses in our program right now. We have a lot of school teachers that are looking for housing through Habitat. So as the AMI limits have increased, the demographic of who we are serving has increased significantly as well.
That may be a good opportunity for us to maybe partner and
Yeah.
have like a information open house or whatever, so that they know what's available for them. The other is, if you could just share with the public, years ago, it was a 15-year mortgage, interest-free, and now I think you're at a 30-year, which gives them a little bit more time. And certainly if they have a few more dollars to put towards their mortgage, they can, and that just pays it off quicker. Can you just share with maybe the general public why the move from a 15 to a 30-year?
Yeah, when Habitat first started in the 80s, our homes cost $40,000 to $50,000. So it was easy to do a 15-year mortgage then. It's tough. I mean, I often say that if affordable housing was easy, everyone would be doing it. If it was profitable, you'd see developers doing it, right? But an average home is costing Habitat about $300,000 to build. So now, through dollars we raise philanthropically, through subsidies from various municipalities, including the county, we're able to bring the loan amount down, especially if we're able to provide down payment assistance to the family. But to spread, almost a $300,000, or I think our average sales price last year was about $233,000. To spread that over 15 years would make it tough for a lot of these families to purchase the home. We always make sure that their housing costs remain under 30% of their monthly income, and so that really, their debt to income ratio is really what drives the length of the mortgage. It's not uncommon, again, through the education we do, to see folks pay multiple, months at a time, or they pay down their mortgage early. We do see that pretty commonly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Scheer.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say thank you. Your program means so much to so many, and it means so much to the home buyers, but also the people who get to participate in your program. I have so many friends that volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, and it's just wonderful. And I believe it was just less than a year ago, I went to your 1,000th home with Commissioner Scott, and now you're at 1,050, so that's just awesome.
Yep.
I did have a question for you on the Lealman project.
Sure.
Did I hear you say that was a land lease project?
It is, yeah.
Who's the owner of the property?
It's the Housing Finance Authority of Pinellas County.
And then the buyers, they were able to obtain financing to buy their homes?
Yeah,
On a
we
land lease.
we have a number of awesome bank partners, and they were able to figure that out. And really, at the end of the day, what it allows us to do is to serve families that are on the lower scale of the income levels that we serve, because they're purchasing the home, right? There's no cost associated with the land, and the rental component, that lease component, is very minimal in comparison. So, the average note on those homes will probably be right around $200,000.
How long is the lease on the
It's a
land?
99-year with a 99-year renewal.
So it does work, and their financing, was most of them a 30-year financing or 50?
Yeah, 30-year financing, yeah.
Okay.
It's another tool in the toolbox. You typically see land leases with rental properties, but we've been able to figure out a way to make it work with our homeowners, and it's something you're seeing very, throughout the country now literally as a tool in the toolbox.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming in and telling us.
Yeah, no problem.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mike, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate the partnership. And, going to these ribbon cuttings for these new homes, the tears of joy and the pride in these new homeowners' eyes is just, it's just precious, right?
Sure.
There's no other word for it. It just feels so good to see them finally reach that milestone in their life. And I've been watching what you all have been doing in Dansville. I ride the Pinellas Trail by there a couple times a week, and so I've just been watching that steady progress week after week. And you guys are uplifting that community. I mean, that was an area that historically became kind of depressed, and it is looking really, really good. And I just want to thank you for everything you're doing there, and we appreciate the partnership.
Appreciate that. When the county actually approached us about doing the work in Dansville, or in Ridgecrest, and it was probably 8 or 9 years ago when Bruce Bussey had reached out. You all owned 7 or 8 lots in that community, and we talked about, could Habitat go in and build some homes in there? And what's really happened over those 7 or 8 years is the crime has basically gone down to zero. As some of you know, we got rid of a couple dilapidated buildings out there. One that was a BYOB club, where we had some shootings, and we went in, we purchased that. The county provided us some resources around it. And that community now is one, if we have property in Ridgecrest, our homeowners are lining up to get matched in there. They want to live
Be a
there.
part of the Pinellas Trail that I rode very quickly on.
Yeah. By the way, when you drive by there, you can always stop and swing a hammer.
You know what? I may do that.
You can take a pit stop. We'll give you water and everything.
All right, good deal.
Thank you, Commissioner Scott. Yeah, the comments were perfect. I was just out there for a park kind of opening, and they were so excited about the park. They're so excited about the community, and really couldn't have happened without the 99 homes, you say. That's incredible. I remember when we started with just those few. Beautiful, beautiful community and great work that you all do. Thank you all. I know you have several folks here from your team. Really good to have you here in the House. Any other comments, questions? Again, we'll go out, come up and take a picture with you. Don't.
Yeah, no, I'd love to introduce my team. So we have our board chair, Chris Hackney. Our immediate past chair, Heather Ford, is with us as well. And then everyone knows Sean, Skylar, Morgan, and Camilla, all part of our leadership team. So you all come on up and we'll do a quick photo.
We are going to get into citizens to be heard in just a second. I wanted to recognize Corporal Thornton, Deputy Winnick, and Deputy Manley for taking care of us like they always do. Appreciate your presence and being outside with the umbrella and welcoming us in, so thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we just have a few this morning to go through. We have several for item 14, which is the the construction property management. It's a resolution to declare surplus multiple county-owned properties in the city of Clearwater. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but so we have a couple of speakers on that, and that'll happen at that time. So first up, Dan Richter. Please, Dan. Oh, my apologies. It could have been Don or Dan, so I apologize, Don. And you'll have 3 minutes, Don. Introduce yourself and your address, and then 3 minutes. Yep, right there.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Don Richter, and my address is 235 Timberlane Drive, Palm Harbor. I want to thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak this morning. It's funny how, funny, that somebody opened the meeting up regarding the rain. It was the first thing that was said today. And that's what I'd like to speak on, is the drought situation and building in the county. So we're being told that we are in the midst of a historical 30-year drought. No car washing, take short showers, flush toilets as needed, and the biggest no-no of them all is watering our lawn only once a week. With Phase 3 water restrictions already in place, we're being threatened with more. Yet, all one has to do is look around, and on every vacant square inch of land, More houses, townhomes, and worse yet, high-density apartments are being built, seemingly lining US 19 from Tarpon Springs down to the Skyway and everywhere else east and west. And I'm sure with more plans to build more. On a more macro level, Florida is drying up. Natural spring flows are being impacted. Wetlands, ponds, lakes, and rivers are drying up due to overpumping. Wildlife is suffering. We are slowly killing the once beautiful state of Florida that I was, for over 50 years, I called home, or I call home still. With all this building comes added demand on county infrastructure as well, along with increased water consumption, demand for police, fire, and EMS, not to mention traffic, and we've all experienced the lovely traffic here. Surrounding counties are guilty of overbuilding as well, only adding to the impact of water levels. Pinellas County leadership has the opportunity to at least hit the pause button and take a look at this situation. It's not unusual to see comment after comment after comment on social media on this very subject that I'm sharing today. People are sick and tired of it, being told that we have to save water, yet everywhere you look, there's more building. And I'm sick and tired of it too. I've had the opportunity to work with y'all on conservation issues in the past between Pinellas County School Board, and grassroots 501(c) West Klosterman Preserve. We were able to save 14 acres from development, and I got to thank you for that enough. So I urge you all to place a building moratorium, or at least think about placing a building moratorium in place, at least temporarily until the water situation improves, and it very well may not. I'm speaking tonight at the Oldemar City Council against yet another, I believe, 400 approximately unit apartment complex that's being built or proposed to be built on the Oldemar flea market. The insanity has just got to stop. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Don. Ron Walker, please.
Ron Walker, 7100 Overton Road, Largo. Guys, we need a false claims ordinance. And allow me to tell you why. Allow me to read to you from Broward County's false claim ordinance the purpose of the ordinance. The purpose of Broward County's false claim ordinance is to deter persons from knowingly causing or assisting in causing the county to pay claims that are false, fraudulent, or inflated, and to provide remedies for obtaining damages and civil penalties for the county when money is sought or obtained from the county by reasons of false claims. Commissioner Egger, pay attention. This is important.
I'm writing notes.
Yeah, well,
on your
listen to me and then do your notes.
Yeah.
It's a law that doesn't cost you anything to pass. It doesn't cost you anything to use. But when it is used properly, the county's the beneficiary. It doesn't seem to me to require super intelligence to know that we need something to protect a $4.3 billion annual budget. And municipalities all over America that have these false claims laws are attaining amazing benefits. So all you've got to do, guys, is copy Broward County's law. It's very easy. And you will really serve your constituents because you're being clipped north and south in the county, and whistleblowers won't come forward to inform. So please consider passing a false claims ordinance. Make it easy on yourselves. Copy Broward County's. And I think you'll all be heroes. Truly, I do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. David Ballard Geddes, Jr.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. David Ballard Geddes Jr. I live on Georgia Avenue in Palm Harbor. The Federalist Papers, again, reveals 3 constitutions, the former, the latter, and the last resort. As I introspect the Federalist Papers, I actually think that Jacob Boehme wrote the Federalist Papers. Jacob Boehme gave the Federalist Papers to Hamilton, Madison, and John Jay, and those scallywags sold it to us. If I could say one thing to Jacob Boehme, it would be, shoemaker, stick to thy last, shoemaker, stick to thy last. Today, as constitutionally confounded as we are, the Declaration of Independence in perpetuity counterfeits itself as preamble to Hamilton's Second Constitution, when in the course of human events, it assumes its powers over the earth based on the capture of water, as based in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11. The Declaration of Independence, as misconceived, as misplaced, and as misperceived, the Declaration sheds light on a prince, which brings into focus the vernacular of Niccolo Machiavelli's political playwright, The Prince. Oh, for it is far better to be feared than it is to be loved. Now let's read the Declaration of Independence from this perspective. Maybe we should have a no prince protest instead of a no kings protest in opposition to Machiavelli's political playwright that's being placed upon our heads today. The Declaration of Independence, in conjunction with the 14th Amendment, is being used as a ring bolt operation to connect the first Constitution with the second Constitution, birthing despotic water jurisdictions, intending to vanquish Christianity again, as based on Federalist Paper 2. Men like Sir Frederick Douglass, I honor him, and the Danbury Baptists, praise them. They saw the hypocrisy in Thomas Jefferson and how Jefferson's Religious Freedom Act in actuality serves as a departure of Almighty God, which we see today in the Reclaimed Water Variance application, which claims that I literally owe my religion of Christianity as deduced in the 14th Amendment. Fortunately for us, Abraham Lincoln, he didn't write the 14th Amendment, he amended it to include the rebellion clause denouncing the Book of Common Rebellion, effectively making null and void the Book of Common Rebellion and the unwarranted jurisdiction that is intended to be placed on us today. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Greg Pound.
Greg Pound, Largo, Florida. There's the Bible, the Word of God, the truth. It says, sanctify them in thy word is truth. I want to read something from the American Bar Association. And these 3 men right here is Robert Guattieri, Scott Swoof, and Everett Rice, and Greg Pound, running for sheriff for the 2nd time to expose the corruption this county has been running on the people of Pinellas County. And so when you look up at AI and you ask AI, is it legal for an attorney to run for sheriff? If you have a law degree, you can run for sheriff. But if you're admitted to the Florida bar, you are a part of the judicial branch. This is a statement from the American Bar Association. So these 3 men here have been admitted to the Florida bar. That is becoming a member of the Florida bar. Any lawyer desiring to practice law in Florida must be a member of the Florida bar, which makes him a part of the judicial branch. Why truth is hated? It threatens power, profit. Truth is often rejected not because it's unclear, but because it threatens someone's power or profit. Now, I want to know why my YouTubes, I had 94 YouTubes exposing the corruption in this county. Children being molested, beat up, arms broken, kids being literally tortured in this county through the Sheriff's Department, DCF, and the things that they've done to people and their families. And so something needs to be done. This county is the most corrupt county in the state. If you can find me $18,000 for someone smashing in the back of my car on the way to the courthouse, that I've been going there for literally years, exposing the corruption at the Pinellas County Courthouse, and now the judge gives a judgment, working with the attorneys from Progressive Insurance Company of $18,000. Can you explain that, how someone's sitting at a light, waiting for a light to change? The guy smashes in the back of the car, and you get a judgment of $18,000? When Gross over here across the street in your civil court section refuses to allow me to see the judgment they placed against me, I had 20 days to respond to it. I filed 3 different motions to the judge. I had to get the judge's permission to look at the judgment they placed against me. When I was told, all you got to do is take your driver's license down there. I took my driver's license down here right across the street, and Gross says, that doesn't work. You're going to have to go. They said you're going to have to get permission from the judge. You guys are raping people. You hate the truth. Our sheriff's department is run by criminals. These guys are aiding and abetting criminals running our county. Robert Guattari should be in prison. The guy's a criminal. And the people, all these guys, these are 3 attorneys. They went to law school. And you tell me you don't know the law? You don't know the separation of powers, how important that is? Why James Madison made that one of the most important thing in our Constitution, to protect our liberties and our freedoms? We got corruption that's so bad you can't make it up in this county. It's out of control.
Okay, we are going to move on to a couple of public hearings. Number 8.
Agenda item number 5 is case number CW 2604. This is a proposal by Pinellas County to amend a countywide plan map from residential low medium to employment regarding 3.49 acres more or less located at 5200 62nd Avenue North. The public hearing was properly advertised and an affidavit of publication has been received for filing. No correspondence has been received by the clerk, and the matter is properly before the board to be heard.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? What would the will of the commission be? Hear presentation, or do I have a motion? Yeah, go ahead. Anybody? Move approval from Commissioner Nowicki.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Scott. Kevin Reali? Do you? Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Anybody else? Okay, pull up the card, please. Okay. Commissioner Peters is a yes. The motion carries unanimously. On to number 6.
Agenda item number 6 is a proposed ordinance to revoke and repeal ordinance number 2020-31, which granted Jabil Incorporated a Phase 1 ad valorem tax exemption and to provide a process to dissolve the related performance agreement, including authorization for the county administrator to execute all necessary documents. The public hearing is properly advertised and an affidavit of publication has been received for filing. No correspondence has been received by the clerk, and the matter is properly before the board to be heard.
Thank you. I have no cards today. Any comments, questions? A motion by Commissioner Scott. Second by Commissioner Nowicki. Pull up the card, please.
And I'm going to need assistance to get my thing to work.
Okay. Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda, items 7 through 12. Does anybody want to pull anything, or do I have a motion? Commissioner Flowers on the motion. Second by Commissioner Latvala. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to number 13.
Item 13 is an agreement for the annual facility permit for Raytheon Companies with our Building and Services Department.
Motion by Commissioner Flowers, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Flowers.
Just glad to know that Raytheon is still in our community. I know that there's a lot of development on the horizon, especially in the high-tech area. I think Artemis was mentioned in the prayer, and on my way driving here, They were discussing the looping of Artemis on the dark side of the moon coming back this way once they got out of the cone of silence for about 40 minutes or so. So those astronauts are headed back here. I think we'll see much more happening there. And Raytheon played a large part in previous explorations. So I see some of our students who have taken on STEM as their thing, that when they go away to college, hopefully this will be an opportunity for them to come back home and come back to some real good jobs, and we'll see them continue to move forward. So just wanted to squeeze that out. Free advertising, Raytheon.
Thank you. And several of us, 3 of us, were at Draper Industries yesterday, and they have a lot of new technology in some of the industry that you just mentioned, our defense industry and AI and on and on. And I know Commissioner Scott and Commissioner Wicki stayed for the tour. Commissioner Peters has been on that tour before, but another company that's bringing jobs here. Part of a larger company, but certainly we get a piece of that here locally. So,
Darlene and I took a tour last year, I believe it was, and it was very interesting.
yeah. No,
Very interesting.
It's fascinating. Okay. So, we're good? All right. We will move on to number 14.
Excuse me,
gotta vote.
Mr. Chair, we didn't vote on that item.
But that's why I asked, are we good? So-
My apologies, you are good to vote. I
That's all
thought
right.
you meant who motioned.
Made a motion, made a second, then a comment. Pull up the card, please. And yes, the chair is old, so he forgot. All right. A motion passes unanimously.
But we love our older citizens.
Thank you, Commissioner. Did you guys all hear that? Okay, just want to make sure you heard that. All right, number 14, Barry.
Item 14 is a resolution to declare surplus, excuse me, multiple county properties in the city of Clearwater and authorize the county administrator to utilize a competitive request for negotiation process in anticipation of selling the properties.
Just put a little framework around that, Barry, based on where we are having a public comment later this
Based upon the work session. So this is just declaring the property surplus. We still have to go through a negotiation process to execute an actual sale, et cetera, and stuff. That'll be what you're going to be taking public comment on as directed at the last meeting, coming up here, and I think they're targeting something later this month. But so then, then we'll actually issue the RFN at a point in the future. Then you'll be able to see actual proposals to determine the process that the board wants to take to make a decision on that property at that time. So this is just beginning that process and declaring the property surplus.
Okay. And did we just, we're looking at April 23rd, 6 o'clock here. Okay. All right. Well, that notice should be coming out to everybody in a short order. April 23rd, right here at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 o'clock. We'll take comments from the public.
And just so we're clear, there was no date that was going to work for everyone, so.
Yeah, no, I understand. Commissioner Scheer.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I had a question on the RFN itself. Are we going to be asked to approve the RFN before it's issued? Or is it something that you're just, are you bringing it to us for the final RFN?
Well, let's see, I'm looking back to Blaine. There's no formal approval of the actual RFN. At the last meeting, we get clarification on that, or we were going to bring it up at the next work session.
Well, at the last meeting we talked, I was surprised that there was an RFN, but I was told it was a draft.
Well, it is.
And that's why I didn't get to see it. But I would like to see it before it's
Well, as we finalize that,
issued.
we can send that back to the commission, for your review. I think the last time we were really focused around whether it was fee simple or lease, and, I think we got consensus around the board on that, but then so we need to decide that. You're going to have a public hearing on that process, and we can also discuss these at the work session. But as we get the RFN drafted, we'll be happy to send that back to the commission.
So we're going to get public comment. We're going to have another work session on this topic where we'll, again, have a shot at looking at the RFN.
Correct, before it's released.
Before we bring it back for a vote.
Well, I don't think you'd vote on that, but you'd certainly give direction if you want to change that process.
Okay, so we'll change. And if we change the process, do we need to bring it back to a commission meeting?
No, I mean, if you, like, I mean, I think the biggest issue is well, we've kind of outlined the process. If you want to add additional meetings or the process, or you say a fee simple versus lease, then all those things based upon that direction, then we would modify the RFP, send that back to the commission, and then issue it.
Okay. All right, so we'll, that workshop for us is when?
Well, we have 2 workshops coming up on the 16th and on the 20th.
Okay. So we're going to be addressing
You'll
the
have
RFN at which meeting?
Correct.
Which one?
Either one.
Okay.
You have a preference, Blaine?
No, it'll be a work session. There's no formal approval of the RFN document, but it will be reviewed.
Yeah, well, I think there's a sentiment that we'd like to have that conversation here.
Right.
Okay.
So how close is it being drafted?
Excuse me.
So as far as the RFN is concerned, Barry was correct. There's a process and a timeline. There's also the normative statements on the redevelopment vision, which we've talked about multiple times here. That's mixed use and as we've talked about. The other thing is the terms and conditions, which we've been meeting with legal and purchasing. We've got those boiled down. As Barry was alluding to, really the last piece is understanding, you know, you've had more conversations on the fee simple versus ground lease. There appears to be direction on that. But we can come back and we can discuss exactly what those things look like at the next work session and circle back with y'all once we finalize that.
You said the 16th. When are the 2 work sessions that we have, Barry?
The 16th and the 30th.
The 30th.
The 30th. And
I think that would be the appropriate one to
30th
have.
gives us a little more time for him to get those documents, get them to you in advance
Yeah.
where you can review them, and then we can have a
And we will have
discussion.
heard from the public at that public.
We can do that. We can add that to the 30th work session.
Is that okay with Commission? Okay. You got a further comment, Commissioner Scheer, and then Commissioner Latvala had a, you good? Okay, Commissioner Latvala.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, and I know that we talked about this at the last last work session, and there was, I guess, consensus to sell. And I appreciate us doing the town hall meeting on the 23rd. But what are we supposed to tell the citizens in Clearwater who don't want us to sell the property and would rather us lease the property, that show up expecting that we haven't already made up our minds?
One, we're not going to release the RFN until this all plays out. That'll be sometime in May. Okay. So this is all being delayed to get that type of discussion on the 30th. And, you know, in regard, there's really 2 issues. It's the method to dispose of the property, right, that we discussed. But you're also getting that input from your citizens regarding what it is that they're, you know, wanting to see. Ultimately, as the developers propose ideas, you have the opportunity to negotiate changes to that based upon that citizen input. Accept that, don't accept that, negotiate to impasse and say we're not going to do it. And so you have all the flexibility in the world as a board in terms of what you ultimately want to see, if and whether it meets the needs of both you as commissioners and what you view as the public's need. And if it doesn't, you're under no obligation.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm not sure who put this on my desk, but somebody put up on my desk a report from CBRE, Public-Private Partnerships, Your Valuable Real Estate, How to Keep It, How to Dispose of It, How to Make It Work, from December 2024. And I haven't read it all, of course, because we got it right before the meeting. But it has a case study for this very project in it, which sparks another question that I have. And that is, does CBRE get, and I'm not trying to cast any dispersions on them. In my dealings with them, they seem like very capable, ethical people. And so I'm not questioning their ethics or any of our ethics or anything like that. But do they get a like a commission or anything like that with
No.
the sale of the property?
They do. Oh, come on up, Blaine. That's unaware to me, so.
Yes, sir. They are a real estate broker. They do get a commission. The more value that it increases, the less commission percentage-wise that they get. But that is part of the RFN as well in their contract.
And, you know, and I obviously I forgot that. But we brought them on for a reason, is they've done this, and they've got entire teams within their firm that's done this throughout the United States. And we don't have that expertise, you know, internally. And they do. And we went through a competitive selection process for them to bring on that team, and we looked for the experience, references, and ability to deliver projects. But that's the reason we brought them on. This is a large project to be able to vet, look, and help us structure this process to where you can get the outcome that you're looking for.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Shir. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Commissioner Nowicki.
That's okay.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
Oh, thank you, Chairman. Would we be able to get a copy of CBRE's contract and their fee schedule with that commission? Because my understanding was we piggybacked off a state contract and it didn't go through a competitive bid process. So that was my understanding.
No, that's the contracting method. We went, well, you know what, it's been several years. Let's pull that and let's look.
Yeah, because
I don't want to speak to it.
Because I went back and watched a lot of meetings the last few weeks, and so my understanding was there was no competitive process, and they were piggybacked off of a state contract, and I think they've been paid almost $4.5 million for their work so far.
We went through. We didn't just go out and pick CBRE. We went and looked at all qualified firms. So the method for contracting, we'll go back and look, because I don't want to speak, you know, because I don't remember. But that is, we've also expanded their scope of work to do a lot of different construction projects around the county. And as you're well aware, like for instance, you know, we had a project out at the sheriff's for his central intake that was over budget, off schedule, and we contracted with them rather than managing that in-house or hiring. We had them manage that project. They reduced that project by millions, brought it in on budget and on time. So they've been very effective at utilizing them for different ways of managing other construction projects, not just this project.
Yeah, and to Commissioner Watvala's point, I was the one that, you know, put this on all of our colleagues' desks and gave a copy to the clerk from CBRE, you know, which outlines, you know, how to do a ground lease. Because I asked, you know, staff on the 27th, the 2nd, and the 6th for a side-by-side comparison of what it would be to sell the land and what it would be to do a ground lease. And I was told multiple times that that can't be done. It's, you know, not, you know, there's too many variables, but yet CBRE own document lays out how to do it. And so I would like to see them here to answer those questions on if they're being told not to produce it, which I don't think is the case, and I would hope that's not the case. But they literally say how to dispose and talks about ground lease over 99 years, net present value, how to determine the value of the property, total nominee revenue for the full term of a lease. And this is in their own document, Public and Private Partnerships from CBRE with Leanne Kirst on the second page of it. So they published a document on how to do this, but yet I'm told at least on 3 separate occasions they can't do it. So, I had to go find this document that they were using for a different city to try to get, I think, Delray Beach, that they were putting a bid in for, and this is a document they used to try to do a proposal for Delray Beach. And to Commissioner Watvala's point, they use us as an example, but yet I'm told we can't get a side-by-side revenue outbreak of what it would be for a lease. And so I think, you know, we deserve to know that information if we're expected to make a huge decision like this.
And again, that's fine, we can address that in a second, but at the last meeting, we did talk about their recommendation to move the property to maximize the value of the sale. That's what they, and they didn't say I didn't get anything from them. I've never got anything from them. They said they wouldn't or couldn't.
Correct.
They
That's
take this commission's direction about what we're going to do. So if this commission wants more information on something, we give them that direction and they'll bring it. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be.
Well, I think to your point, Chair, I mean, I think this board gave that direction in November and asked for it. And it was said by our administrator that CBRE has the expertise and that it would be done and provided to us in the spring. So November 13th meeting, it was talked about, and we were told we would get a side-by-side compare. And that's why I've asked so many times, is because we asked for it, and the county administrator said it would be provided.
Okay, Commissioner, hold on. Barry, go ahead.
The difference is process, which is the document that, the commissioner's referencing, and they've outlined that. You can do it either way. They've explained that, and they've been here to be able to answer your questions regarding that. We had a whole discussion regarding that. To do a financial analysis on each one, there's a lot of different assumptions. That's what they've said. So we took the commissioner's request, we gave it to them, and if they would have been able to provide that with reasonable assumptions, it's all based upon the assumptions that you're using. They said there's too many factors to be able to do two different financial comparisons. It's the same as if we do fee simple, what's it going to be? Well, that's going to be driven by the market, so we can estimate, and you saw the estimate of ranges. They're very large ranges because there's a lot of assumptions that go into that. So that's the reason it's not an apples to apples. It's very difficult to be able to do that with a great deal of accuracy. But they've been here, they've discussed that, and I think that's based upon the direction of the board, was based upon that discussion.
I think that the assumption has been that we won't realize the same value in the same timely fashion and get the same level of people bidding on the project if they have to deal with land leases versus,
That's
you know. So there was a number of issues that they brought up. I'm not saying we've done an exhaustive search on that or comparison on that. I'm just saying there have been a lot of variables. And I would hope, I mean, certainly that when they talk about their professional experience, that's what we're getting. They're getting their professional recommendation. I don't need it filtered. We don't need it filtered by, staff's preference or anything else. And it's purely what they have to offer from a professional experience. Again, there's some interest in slowing the process down and hearing from the community. Again, we talked about that last time. We're going to hear from the community. The community has spoken on the Clearwater plan for downtown 2045, I think, at one point. So it's not that they haven't gotten community input. Now we're going to have some more community input. But the essence of moving the property, the essence of it predominantly has been to get the maximum value of the land so that we can buy other property or down pay on the property that we're going to build. Having said that, we're also interested in being partners with the city of Clearwater. We have approached them individually as commissioners and the staff, and we're going to hear again from the residents that maybe hasn't come out loud and clearly from the staff. So there is a process that we're going through. Back to the issue of land lease, if we want to hear more about land lease and what opportunities there are, then we just tell them as a board, four of us, we want to hear specificity on land lease comparison to selling. There are examples out there, but the problem is you go one way, not the other, on any case. So you can only think what might have been. But there are opportunities out there where there have been land leases that have worked. Maybe it works with us, maybe it doesn't. But they've given us their professional opinion that if we want to move the property, get the maximum value for the property for a down payment on their new campus, that this is the way to go. What we're trying to do is get the community input, maybe take a pause, think a little bit about where we are. Do we want to maybe move a little clear on certain properties? Or do we want to take out a couple of properties and treat them differently than the other pieces of property? We can do that. You can have a piece that talks about, a land lease that's going to be more community-friendly, more development, a different direction for the downtown Clearwater development. You can do that. Again, you start to pick apart the pieces, and that's why I asked the question at the last meeting. Are there some pieces that are much more valuable than others? And there are. In development, in returning dollars so that we can have a bigger down payment. That's all, to me, that's been important because that's for taxpayers as well. We're interested in Clearwater, we're interested in our taxpayers, but we're also interested in the taxpayers of this county. So we have to balance them both, and that's what we're trying to do, as I understand it. Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is just the first step in what's going to be a pretty long process, and we have to take this step in order to get the process moving. So I'm going to move approval, and I agree with what you said. I mean, we've gotten their professional opinion of CBRE, and we've talked a lot about land lease, and we're going to talk a lot more about land lease, but this is just the first step in that process, and so I move approval that we take that first step.
Second by Commissioner Peters. Any other, did you have another comment?
I never got to. Yes, Chair. I just wanted to say, real quick.
What'd you say?
I said I never got to. Anyway, yes, I just wanted to say that I do remember the conversation that Commissioner Nicky brought up about we were going to have a side-by-side comparison. We never got it. I wanted to move forward last week because in conjunction with the deed restrictions that are going to be placed on the property, which I don't believe is going to be very enforceable, I was told there would be a reverter clause that would run with the property as well. But then at the end of the meeting, we learned that it was going to have an expiration date, so that the reverter clause was going to expire like a loaf of bread. And so that's why I'm asking that we be given a chance to approve the request for negotiation, because I think it should include an option for the developers to bring us an option to provide a land lease instead of purchasing the property. So, and that's not a side-by-side RFN going out. It would be an option that we could add to it, that if they thought they would like to save $100 and $200 million or whatever that's going to be cash out, and instead give us a land lease, which will provide us some control on the areas that we want to see activated, which is the ground floor and the shops and the sidewalks, and then I think that we could add an option and see, maybe some developer you want to talk about competition, and more competition, the better. We'll give them an option to provide a different way to go, which would be, instead of them putting down $200 million in cash to buy the property, they give us a land lease. So anyway, that.
I appreciate that commitment. You've been pretty consistent with that piece. And I really don't have an issue necessarily putting it in the RFN. We are not approving an RFN today. We're approving the RFN as part of the process in determining who we eventually select. So it just says, and authorizing it to utilize a competitive request for negotiation process.
Right.
So we're not approving any RFN today.
Well, from what I'm hearing is we're not going to be given an opportunity.
We are going to look at it at the next workshop, the 30th, right? Is that, okay.
And Chair, I mean, I would just like to, just out of respect, and I mean, I could have swore we said at the workshop, because I specifically asked, we're not going to move on this agenda item until the town hall. And it was said, yes, we're not going to move forward on this item until we have the town hall. And now there's a motion for approval. So we said last week at the workshop.
I think this is a very general word. So let's define what this is. We are not approving an RFN.
I specifically said that we're not taking this up until we have the workshop to get public input to see if the residents want to sell or lease. I specifically said that in the last workshop.
I understand. And so to Commissioner Scheer's point about putting a lease option in the purchase of the property, but I mean, I'm just trying to understand.
Well, I think you would maybe have more residents here, because they would have been under the understanding that this would have been postponed till after.
So you're saying by taking this action, you think we've already made a decision on land versus sale or versus lease?
Designate land as surplus. I mean, that's literally what it says.
Well, it's going to be transacted one way or another through a lease or through a sale. So there will be a transacted process.
I would just, I wouldn't feel comfortable moving forward after what I said in the workshop, that we wouldn't be moving this item forward till after the town hall.
Okay.
That's what was said.
That's fine. I hear you. Okay. Any other comments?
That must have been a part of the conversation after I had to leave. What are you saying? Because I didn't recall.
I don't remember where it was in the process.
I don't recall, maybe Julie, you remember, did we have consensus on waiting? Because I remember him saying that, but I don't remember there being consensus on that.
I don't exactly remember how it came out, but I do believe there was consensus on moving forward based on CBRE's recommendation. But I will say, declaring the properties as surplus does not require you to move forward with a sale or a land lease or anything of the like. This is a preliminary step that you would take prior to issuance of the RFM, but it does not require you to move forward and sell the properties. So you still have all the options on the table, even if you take this action today.
Okay, I think that's important. Okay, thank you.
So again, let's, this item, Barry, was this item on the, yeah, this item was on the March 23rd, which we did postpone.
We did postpone it to this date.
Okay. And the concept behind the postponement then was?
For the work session to occur, which we had, and that's where we had CBRE in.
Okay. So we did postpone it. We had CBRE in here, had further discussion.
Correct.
And so we're here today, okay? You voted one way last time. Maybe you were more comfortable given a certain scenario, but now you're not as comfortable. I'm not going to spend much more time on this today, but if we're not interested in moving forward again until after the public hearing, then that's been your expressed interest. I don't know where you are right now on that, so let's hear from you, Chris.
Sir, Chair, based on the advice of the council here and what I'm hearing, that everybody understands that we're still looking at options, I'm prepared to vote to move forward with the declaration of the surplus. But I want everybody to know, I want to see
I understand. And that you will get that in plenty of time before our April 30th workshop.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll have that, we'll air it out at that meeting.
Great.
For further discussion. Okay. Anything else? All right. We do have a couple of folks who want to speak. I'm really not interested in hearing a half an hour of conversation, but there is somebody here who is a group speaker who brought 4 people, I am sure, to express the fact that they're here and that they will let somebody speak for them for 10 minutes. So I will ask first Brooks Gibbs to come forward. Janice Bassler. Let me see. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. William Mathis. Okay, thank you. Jay Cooper. And Donna Lynn Cooper. All right. There are your 4 folks, and you have 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Hi there, Brooks Gibbs, 1204 Alameda Avenue. I'm a Clearwater resident, and happy to be with you here today. There's a great story about Einstein, actually. I don't know if it's misattributed, but someone asked him, they said, if you had, an hour to save the world, what would you do? And after a while, he thought about it a bit, and he decided to say for 55 minutes he would formulate the answer, or really the question first, and then he'd spend 5 minutes figuring out the answer. And if you have to ask a right question to get the right answer, sometimes it takes time. And I feel like we're in our final hour of decision here listening to you guys talk. And I'm convinced that declaring the county buildings a surplus, which is the start of a sale, is a colossal mistake. I understand the reasoning that maybe all of them won't sell and some will be leased. But the problem is when you don't declare a surplus if you're going to do a lease. You only declare a surplus if you're going to sell. And so I really am, on behalf of many people that I've talked to as citizens, we'd prefer you don't make that type of decision. Figure out which buildings are good to sell, and then figure out which buildings are ideal to lease. And you have to look at the financials for that. So I've been racking my brain, well, then what's the right question? If Einstein, if he even said that, it took 55 minutes to come up with the right question, well, what's the question that you guys are asking right now? And here's, I'm going to use a projector. I don't know if that is the right orientation. But it sounds like the Pinellas County Commission is asking this question: how do we generate enough from the disposal of these downtown properties to pay down the debt of our new facility? We need roughly 80 million, so how do we get there? That seems to be the question. And that's an admirable question. I think that's the right question, by the way. I think it's a beautiful question. You're trying to relieve taxpayers of a burden, and your constituents appreciate that. And in a moment, you're going to hear from a realtor who's had done a lot of work with multiple developers to look at creative financing that actually solves that debt problem, and how a public-private partnership allows you to fund your new facility through lease proceeds, and I'll leave that to him. But there is another question that I'm hearing from citizens. I'd like to put that up there. This is the question they're asking. They're saying, how will our county commissioners ensure that these properties remain activated, accessible to all people, and do not fall into the hands of the institution that already controls more than 200 properties downtown? Now, I hope you agree that that question is just as important as your former question and should probably get the same weight at the table. Now, if you drive across Clearwater Memorial Causeway, there's quite a stark contrast. On one end, you see America's best beach. On the other end, you see a downtown that's become a national cautionary tale, the subject of sustained investigative journalism, a study of institutional dominance. And in a moment, you're going to hear from someone who will explain in detail exactly how that institution operates, how it amasses more than $1 billion in Clearwater real estate, and why it's both it has the financial capacity and the documented motivation to acquire the county properties. Once you declare a surplus, they will be the top bidder. There's no doubt about it. Or they could buy it on the second or third generation. So really, we have these two questions that I'm listening facing the board that's making a bit divided about whether to sell or to lease. You know, so like, how does a county relieve its debt? That's the first one. And how do citizens get insurance that these properties stay open, active, and accessible to everyone? And the county advisors have proposed a solution. And this is basically what I hear them saying. They're saying, sell the land, it says here on the overhead, sell the land to generate capital and attach deed restrictions and clawback provisions to protect the public interest. Now that sounds reasonable, I think, if you read that, but there's serious flaws, as we learned last week. In fact, the assistant administrator approached me afterwards and introduced himself, and I mentioned to him that there is no such thing as perpetuity when it comes to clawbacks or reversionary. And I named the statute, and I just brought that up as a concern. And I appreciated the integrity that somehow the message got back to the county attorney, who then brought that to your attention. And I thought, well, that's awesome. You know what I didn't mention to him that probably would have been brought up last week as well, is that not only do clawbacks have a 21-year, limitation, but so do deed restrictions. They expire after 30 years, and they actually have to be renewed. And that many times is litigious, especially if the property actually gets transferred in the process, which it likely will. Then basically the county has to make sure that whatever literature or writings or contracts that are transferred from one owner to another has clearly, explicitly communicated the deed restrictions. That's very taxing on a county. You have to have lawyers. You have to monitor 16, 17 properties, whatever it is right now, and you have to know when the property's being moved. And so that's a real problem. In fact, this is called rules against perpetuity. That's actually what it's called in the legal literature. Now it's called, because they reworded it a bit, Marketable Record Title Act, MRTA, codified in Chapter 712 of the Florida statutes. So you don't get that citizen confidence when not only do clawbacks expire, but so do deeds, and they have to be maintained. So you act like a landlord without any of the benefits of the income streams that come from the property that you're having to spend in perpetuity chasing and securing. So I think Commissioner Scheer was right when I quote him, saying once you sell the property, the county loses control of downtown. That's actually correct. And what I want to offer you is maybe a better question, something that I've racked my brain trying to think, how can we just frame this maybe in a more elegant way? And this is kind of what I submit to you. I believe this is the right question that should be formulated. and I don't know how you can agree with this. It says, how do we unlock the full financial value of our public property for the benefit of the county and guarantee activation for the benefit of the public? And there you have, sounds like it's the same thing, but it's not. If you look closely, you've got full financial value. You also have guarantee activation. And so I'm just going to kind of focus on that. In the, I teach. I've been teaching for 26 years. I'm a mental health professional. I teach kids mental health all over North America. My online curriculum is watched all over the world. And so I've always tried to gamify things. That's what I've done my whole career, is take complex concepts like approvalism and hedonism and perfectionism and all these psychological things that tie up kids in knots, and I try to explain them in a more gamified way. So please humor me. This is just the way I think. But I would like to play a little bit of a game with you called Would You Rather? And I close with this juxtaposition, would you rather? My first question to you is, would you rather make millions on these properties or billions? You know, a cell generates millions in realistic terms, perhaps 40 to 50 million after all is said and done. And that will be explained to you in a second. Unless, of course, a parishioner that's connected to the institution that dominates gives you whatever number you want, that can certainly be an option as well. But any reasonable developer will probably lowball you. A ground lease, however, generates a comparable upfront premium on day one when someone buys the lease, then continues generating more revenue for the county across generations, with projections reaching to the hundreds of millions, even billions. So publicly traded companies, listen please for this. This is really a thought that I thought I gotta make this point. Publicly traded companies are legally obligated to make decisions that enrich their shareholders. And I think this county is under the same obligation to make decisions that genuinely benefit the citizens. One-time sale does not meet that standard when a long-term lease generates dramatically more value over time and even up front. The revenue from the downtown buildings can pay down what you owe on the new county building. Now, regarding activation, we have this question. Would you rather hope that these properties remain open to the public or guarantee it? And a sale produces hope, a ground lease produces a guarantee. Here's another one. Would you rather see these parcels remain disconnected or assembled? Now, a sale locks in disconnection, but a lease preserves the county's ability to assemble parcels over time. Only a public entity has the power to work through courts to assemble land. Would you rather see Court Street and Chestnut stay split or rejoined? Well, if you sell these, a private owner will not be able to work with FDOT, only you can. And finally, would you rather delegate our future to a developer or design our future together? I've told my kids and students I work with all over the country, if you don't decide who you are and where you're going, someone else will decide that for you. Never delegate your future. And I think a sale delegates it to a developer based on his budgets and his aspiration. Please don't sell out Clearwater. Set us up for a bright future.
Morning. Yes, sir. Well, thank you. Thank God for the opportunity to stand before you, and thank you for your attention. My name is Robert Paolini, 1638 Spotswood Circle. I've been a Palm Harbor resident, Pinellas County, for almost 29 years. I also happen to be a licensed real estate professional in the area, working broadly with residential, commercial, and land development. And I do know a thing or two about land leases and the benefits of those who hold the land and the opportunity, as you do now. Interestingly enough, just to get everybody on the same page, to me, this looks like an opportunity that seems to be, there's a window for an easy way out or a quick fix. But I could tell you more times than I should have, I saw people who had assets in their grasp, in their ownership. And when they could have done a little bit extra to do more for themselves in the future, too many times they took the easy road and just sold. And I'm here to hopefully convey that the juice is worth the squeeze. And the county is the one holding the asset, and they have the opportunity to do something with. And the question was, don't we sell it for more when we sell it all outright, as opposed to maybe selling the buildings and leasing the land? Yes, and that's because those buyers know what you may not know yet is what they can do long-term by owning both. And if you look anywhere around 90% of the mobile home parks around here or multifamily units, they're still operating under a land lease to this day. So we're not talking about something that's completely unusual or undoable, and it already sounds like CBRE has that laid out for you. So I'm just going to walk you through the math on the current proposal and show you why it does not deliver what is being promised, and then present a specific alternative that generates dramatically more value for the residents of Pinellas County over the next 50 years. So let's start with what is being proposed and why the numbers don't hold up. So the county needs, let's say, $60 to $80 million to reduce the debt on the government center. Staff has presented one path to get there: sell the downtown Clearwater parcels. That sounds straightforward, right? But an $80 million figure does not survive contact with the basic real estate math. So follow me. Just looking at your two scenarios you have. Scenario one, the county continues to occupy these properties after the sale and pays market rent during the transition. At roughly $7.5 million per year, you potentially lose approximately $30 million over the 4 years. Your $80 million sale becomes a $50 million net. You sold your house for $80 million, but had to rent it back from the new owner for 4 years. So you didn't really get the $80 million, right? You got 50. Scenario two, the county negotiates a rent-free occupancy period. Nice, 0 per diem. This sounds better, right? But it destroys the sale price. No sophisticated buyer pays $80 million for a property generating 0 income for 4 to 6 years. I've seen that personally. At the 8% annual return a developer requires to justify the purchase, an $80 million investment, and their carrying costs. Producing no income for 6 years is worth only $50 million to that investor. So buyers factor that in before they make their offer. Like I said, both scenarios land at the same number. So now here's the alternative. I present to you 4 options of value. Unlike the sale, which generates a one payment one time, this structure generates 4 distinct streams of public benefits simultaneously. When you add them all together, comparison isn't even close. The county executes 50-year ground leases on the downtown parcels. Developers build on those parcels, maintain the buildings, and they pay the county ground rent every year. Ground rent is typically set to 6 to 8% of land value annually, based on the county's own $80 million land valuation. That yields between $5 to $6.5 million per year from the outset, escalating with inflation over the life of the leases. A public finance institution can then advance the county cash today against the present value of the future ground rent stream. This instrument is called a revenue anticipation note. The lender calculates what 50 years of contracted ground rent is worth in today's dollars and advances a portion of that value up front. Lenders typically advance 50 to 60% of the present value pledged of the pledged revenue stream, and they discount it further for development period before rent begins flowing. Based on the county's own land valuation, a conservatively structured revenue anticipation note would yield between $60 to $80 million applied to the construction principal. So there's your money up front. That amount is applied directly to reduce the government center construction loan before it is issued. Instead of borrowing $300 million, the county borrows between $210 and $240 million, depending on market conditions. And annual debt service drops from roughly $19 million per year to between $13 and $15 per year. This is the first stream of the public benefit, 60 to 90 million of the construction principal immediately, with corresponding reductions in annual carrying costs for the life of the loan. The second stream is the debt service savings the reduction generates. $4 to $6 million per year avoided for 30 years is $120 to $180 million that the county does not have to raise from taxpayers or general revenues. The third stream is property taxes on private improvements. When a developer builds on publicly leased land, the land stays in public ownership, but the buildings are privately developed and fully taxable. And these 16 parcels developed into multi-mixed use buildings with a combined asset value of $400 to $600 million. The county's millage on those improvements generates roughly $2 to $3 million per year in additional tax revenue, growing as property values rise. Over 50 years, that is approximately $150 to $175 million in normal tax revenue. And the fourth stream is the participation rent. The ground leases are structured to give the county 10% of the proceeds every time a building sells. Across 16 parcels over 50 years, with buildings trading hands at least once each, that adds conservatively $50 to $100 million in additional public revenue. And in year 25, when the revenue anticipation note is retired, the ground rent itself flows freely to the county for the remaining 25 years of the lease term, adding another $260 million in nominal income. If you prefer to present value terms to account for the fact that dollars are worth less in today's dollars, the present value of the ground lease structure at 4.5%, the discount rate is roughly $280 to $330 million, still 5 to 6 times the net proceeds from the sale. The comparison does not depend on which method you use, but you should probably also know that land value follows inflation. So as the dollar amount becomes worth less, or money, you need more money for the same thing, land prices follow that. And although the county never, and throughout all of this, the county never gives up the land. You retain ownership for the next generation of the Board of Commissioners. You retain eminent domain authority. If downtown Clearwater goes up, continues to grow, these parcels become even more valuable. That appreciation belongs to the public. With the sale, it belongs to whoever bought the land from you today at a distressed price. And this is not the market to trying to be getting top dollar for future income either. I want to address one more thing to this board. May hear from staff, which is that there are too many variables to the model, which I actually did hear that. The lease scenario, reliability is in question. That argument doesn't hold up either, because the land has a value supported by comparable sales. Ground rents are well established in the market. Property tax projections follow standard assessment methodology. Participation rents are negotiated contractually. Revenue anticipation notes are structured by public finance advisors routinely, and these are not unknowns. They are standard inputs. The analysis is not impossible. It's a question of why. Is the juice worth the squeeze? And it is. What I am asking the board to require before any RFP moves forward is simple. Direct staff to model the ground lease revenue anticipation note scenario with the same rigor it has been applied to the sale. Present both analysis publicly. Let this board and its residents of Pinellas County evaluate them side by side. Recommend independent analysis from a public finance advisor selected by the board. No CBRE, not CBRE, whose engagement obviously has a biased interest. Right now, you're being able to ask to make a permanent, irrevocable decision based on a single option that has not honestly been tested. The alternative has not been put before the board. This is not a complete analysis. This decision deserves one. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Braden Gibbs, and I'm a resident, student, and employee of the City of Clearwater. I've spent a lot of time downtown, and as a young adult, I've been pretty frustrated with the lack of development downtown. That frustration has sparked some ideas for what to do with downtown that I've shared with some family, friends, and even a few of you. I want to see downtown Clearwater grow and become a destination like some of the cities I've recently visited: Fort Lauderdale, Charleston, even St. Pete. 3 examples of cities that have grown in past years while Clearwater has struggled. I believe the county campus being discussed has the potential to catapult downtown Clearwater to a thriving city, and I'm excited to see that the commission is discussing this today. I thought that the county was considering a lease of the land similar to what many local governments do to protect publicly owned land. These county properties have served the public for generations, and it would be wrong for the county to prioritize private greed over public benefit. I watched a recording of a past commissioner meeting where the commission instructed CBRE, the advisory firm, to create a plan to sell the land and a plan to lease the land, but today I only see a plan to sell the land. I actually have a direct quote from that past meeting with me now. On November 13th, 2025, Commissioner Scheer said, and I quote, "It might be a good idea to have a professional appraiser or somebody let us know what they think that the present value of the properties are and what the present value of the long-term land lease might be, so we would know what kind of difference it would be between selling and long-term leasing." County Administrator Barry Burton responded, and again I'm quoting directly, "CBRE can do that for us. They have all of the expertise to do that. They manage all types of land leases and things like that in their portfolio." Chairman Eggers said, "I think that's a good one." Commissioner Scott said, "Yeah, that's a good one." And then the Administrator Burton said, "So we can prepare different options and ideas. We'll prepare that for the spring." I want to ask the Commission to remind staff to do a lease study. That way you guys can make an informed decision. I think you will find that a lease brings the county more money in both the short term and the long. If CBRE says they can't do it, I've been told that CBRE makes more money from a sale than a lease, so maybe you can find an alternative company who can serve the taxpayers of this country. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to start by saying this is in no way an attack on personal religious beliefs. Instead, it's a brief history of the dominant property owner in downtown Clearwater and why it matters today. Yes, the elephant in the room. 50 years ago, a front group called United Churches of Florida secretly purchased their first property here, the Fort Harrison Hotel. 2 years later, an FBI raid uncovered internal documents revealing top secret plans, one called Project Normandy, designed to establish area control, including acquiring Clearwater real estate, infiltrating the government, the state attorney's office, the Chamber of Commerce, and media. 11 high-ranking officials in the church were federally prosecuted. Convictions and jail time followed. Fast forward to today. Scientology's plan to control Clearwater and acquire its real estate is alive and well, either by purchasing it outright with cash or by persuading wealthy members to do it for them. The organization has historically paid well above market value to acquire strategic properties. What you see on this map are properties tied to Scientology and its affiliates in downtown Clearwater. It's stunning. We must also consider the financial structure. Their corporation controls trademarks and copyrights of implemented by WISE or WISE businesses worldwide to generate continuous revenue upstream. In addition, there's a mandatory bridge sequence that costs between $250,000 and $500,000 per person. This is another financial engine, and Clearwater is where the highest levels of that sequence are delivered, and only here, to the tune of $1 to $2 million in weekly revenue. Clearwater is the Mecca. If the county properties go to outright sale, there's a decades-long documented pattern that tells us what happens next. A ground lease keeps this land in the public hands permanently. It can meet the county's immediate capital needs, and it ensures that no future transaction strips us of our last opportunity for a new downtown. Give us a fighting chance.
Thank you. All right, those are all the cards that I have for today. And again, I think perspective is important here. I understand the preference of the folks that have spoken. I feel comfortable that we will have aired this thing out before we make any decisions. We will have that conversation on the 30th of this month. Certainly, we will listen to our residents as they speak. I'm sure we'll hear from you all again at those meetings. Look forward to that. You're welcome to come to those as well. Again, I think we're looking at April 23rd.
Well, okay, I'm going to bring that up under County Administrator's report. I just got a call from the city manager. The reason I stepped out, that is the night of their city council meeting. So,
really?
But they don't have to,
no, Commissioner, I'm just relaying. Okay, so the question is some residents may want to come to city council meeting and other agenda items that they have. So we can keep it on the 23rd.
What time is their city council meeting?
6 p.m., same time. So you could have it on the 15th. That's quick.
I mean,
Okay.
we're expecting residents we're giving them a week's notice.
Again, it's your decision. I'm just relaying that's a conflict, so.
I would, do we know if there's anything on the agenda, on their agenda that's controversial that would cause a lot of people to show up?
I didn't ask that question. I don't know.
I'm of the opinion that we just keep it the 23rd.
And the only other date that we have is if we're having a workshop on the 30th, which is a Thursday. Again, I'm not trying to force everything within, a tight time frame, but I'm just throwing alternatives out. Wednesday, the 29th is the last, if you're looking at different weeks here, the 15th, I think, is a little fast, to Commissioner Latvalla's point. I think that's a little quick to throw.
That's the day of the picnic.
Is it?
I don't
Okay.
know if.
Well, I think it was the 15th or the 16th. That was it.
Well,
The employee appreciation picnic.
We'll be done. We can get you done from
No, I
volleyball and
understand, but
everything.
the-
so-
Well, I'm not gonna be doing any of that. I was more talking about like the staff.
They'll be fine. They'd be fine.
Okay.
We were looking at, I think the employee picnic is on,
The 29th,
on what day?
29th.
Wednesday, the 29th.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that either. I think we can handle that.
We have showers.
But, I think the first one's too early.
Okay.
The second one, I want to hear from the residents before we meet on the 30th.
I'm fine with the 29th if the staff will be okay. I don't want the staff to work on their day off.
Well, it's not a day off. They get to enjoy a picnic. We can certainly be here in the evening for a public hearing.
We can do like trophy presentations and.
We can get all of that
for
done. So it's really up to you. Whatever
Yeah.
date works for the commission will be
How does it
prepared.
look for the 29th for the commissioners here?
I'm good.
I'm out of town, 29th or the 30th, so just count me out.
Okay.
Yep.
Commissioner Shear? Okay.
Oh, you're out for the downtown properties
I'll
discussion.
be available if that's of any consequence.
You're good? Okay. All right, I'm counting at least 5 that would be here.
Brian, would you be able to tune in maybe? You know, call in or whatever. I'm sorry, Commissioner Scott. So I apologize.
Well, he'll be able to at least watch it after the fact if you can't.
Yeah, I can certainly watch it. I mean, I can try to tune in. I don't know. I actually have
Yeah.
meetings that overlap
Whatever.
at that
Yeah,
same
but you'll
time.
be able to catch it.
Yeah.
You'll be able to
I'll do my best, but
yeah.
I'll certainly watch it after the fact if I can.
Just wanted you to be
Yeah.
included.
No, I appreciate that.
And then you're not available for the workshop on the 30th.
I return the evening of the 30th, so no. Yeah, I
Maybe
leave the
in commission.
26th, I come back on the 30th.
Well, because I think that conversation, that workshop, I think is going to be important for
Yeah,
all of us to attend.
I'd really like to be there, for sure.
And I'm not, we're scheduling on the fly here.
We could push this till May.
Well, I'm looking at the next week.
I mean, May the 14th, I think, is our next work session, which I'm totally good with.
That works for me. Second.
Do,
I'm
that's the,
We can move it to the 14th, the downtown properties. It delays the process, but, you know, we want, I mean, I do think it's important for all of you to be there.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks, it's.
I won't be here.
Oh, you won't be there.
I'll be out of the country on.
Okay, well, then that doesn't work.
We could do June.
Huh?
June,
No.
maybe?
No, that's,
No,
we have budgets all.
yeah.
I'll fill in
Well,
adequately in your absence.
Yeah.
Commissioners, if I can just offer, I mean, we can hold the meeting, the workshop on the 30th. We can have the discussion at the actual county commission meeting on May the 5th in terms of direction. That way you all are here.
Okay. Does that sound reasonable? Have it on the 30th, workshop.
Workshop, but then unless there's clear consensus, you know,
Well, then we'll
at the workshop, if it's, you know.
Well, for all parties that aren't there, and including those who are there, we'll have another opportunity
On
at
the
that
5th.
first meeting on the 5th.
Okay.
To have more dialogue.
Okay.
Workshop round 2 or decision.
Okay.
We'll just see how things go. But I think it's incumbent upon all of us to be part of a debate, dialogue, discussion.
We want to hold the meeting for the public, and that's either the
To 29th.
The 29th, okay, so you want to change that to the 29th, all right?
Yeah.
All right, David,
Okay, got it?
all right?
Everybody okay with that? All right. And then I just want to go back to the issue of transaction and sale, lease, and what we need to, what this action today is doing. And if it doesn't happen today, does it push the process? I'm not asking for your opinion on what does it do to the marketplace. I'm asking what, from the legal perspective.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify something that we've been taking a look at during the discussion, mostly Don, my research assistant. But our county ordinance requires a declaration to surplus even for a lease. So, and it states very clearly, the following procedures apply to transactions relating to negotiated leases, sales, or other conveyances, and then they speak in terms of surplus county property. So you would need to declare the property surplus even if you decided to move forward with a lease.
All right, so, okay.
And that's what today's action is, just declaring surplus.
Okay. Are there any comments on? Okay, so we had a motion and a second by, yeah, Commissioner Peters. I think I gave it, she edged you out just by that much. Any final comments? And, okay, pull up the card, please. You're a yes? Yeah, okay. That motion carries unanimously. So is everybody clear on the schedule? I think, Barry, if you could send that back out today, just reminding us all what we're
You already
what
sent
we've
it.
committed to.
It's-
Okay.
It's in your inbox.
Okay, great, super. All right, thank you all again for being here today. I appreciate that. Look forward to hearing from you later in the month. All right, we are moving on to number 15.
This is a work order contract for bridge and fixed concrete maintenance and minor repairs. The change order number 2 was Southern Road and Bridge.
Just somebody comment real quickly on it just seems now a really large increase. I just really wanted to get a sense
Kelly?
of that perspective, please. Thank you, Kelly.
Kelly Hammer-Levy, Public Works Director. This is just a work order contract, so it doesn't encumber any funds until we issue work on it. But it is part of the our general operating costs, and it's a multi-year contract.
But that's a sizable.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you're.
We have some big repairs coming up. Unfortunately, with the way our bridges depreciate, some of these repairs, like we have a repair coming up on the Dunedin Causeway that's going to be $2.5 million, but it's not capital, so we can't use penny for it because of the bridge depreciation and then how much the repair is. So we have some of our major bridges that are having some pretty expensive maintenance going on, but it can't be capitalized.
And so when I think there's some comments in here that it's part of our budget. You've been anticipating this, so now it's the time to approve the contract itself for that.
Correct, and we can only use, what we have in our approved budget that you guys have adopted. So it's not a guarantee of work to the contractor because we actually have to issue them a purchase order for a specific assignment, and then encumber those dollars.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It just seems like a very large change order that hasn't been out to, did we receive any bids for this large $2.5 million? And I understand it's for repairs, but.
Yeah, we bid this contract was put out to bid, so this is a change order to that contract that was put out to bid. It contains the same.
The original contract was out to bid.
Yeah.
But this is a $10 million change order or a $4 million contract. Did this work go out to bid?
No.
No, it's maintenance work, so we don't really put out the actual maintenance work itself out to bid. We put out a bid that has these specific line items, like the concrete, joints, things like that. So those costs that were previously bid carry through into this contract, with the exception of any CPI increases that are allowed for in the contract.
Do we generally see a softer market for pricing or more expensive market? Are we gaining, are we winning on this one, or are we losing?
We're keeping the same costs that we put it out to bid at, so.
I understand, but have prices gone down on that?
They have
or gone
not
up?
gone down.
Okay, so that's what I was getting at. So it's still, as far as the market goes on the products that we're talking about, we're doing okay.
Yes.
Without the bidding process on the additional maintenance.
Correct.
Anyway, I just wanted to guess. I didn't mean to cut you off, Commissioner.
I just wanted to.
No, it's a large.
It's
that's
a
why I was
large
asking.
number not to send it out for a request for,
Yeah.
a bid, so.
Understand.
It's not like a sidewalk where we time and materials on sidewalk and it's another 1,000 feet of sidewalk. It's a big number, so. But, based on what you did on the beaches, I'm willing to go with it, so.
Any other questions? Okay. And do we have a motion? Move approval from Commissioner Scott. Second from Commissioner Flowers. Bring up the card, please. Commissioner Latvala is a yes. Okay, everybody's there. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Number 16.
It's a local agency program agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation for funding construction and engineering inspection activities for Ridgemore Boulevard and at Booker Creek.
Kelly, could you come back up, please, on this one? Sorry.
I should have asked her to stay. I was
No,
thinking about
that was my fault. I should have. Sorry, Kelly.
Well, I figured you'd get questions.
This Ridgemore Bridge is now, it was it's a,
FDOT.
it's a county project, but FDOT was bringing a significant grant to the table. They were going to run the construction project. Now, we are running the construction project.
Correct.
We still have that grant in place, but there was some indemnification language, and does that, one of the big concerns out there, as we've talked about, has been when they cut the bridge, when they cut it so that there's been some concern that maybe it's not like they've never done that before, but now it's under our purview, not under their purview, right?
Well, the indemnification language will be in our construction contract when we put it out to bid. So as far as the contractor having to indemnify the county, that'll be in our typical construction documents, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think that's all I had. Any other questions on that? Okay. Do I have a motion, please? Motion by Commissioner Flowers, a second by Commissioner Nowicki. Bring up the card, please. Motion carries unanimously. Number 17.
It's the Second Amendment to a term extension with Recycling Services of Florida. This is for our recycling, collection, and processing for unincorporated areas.
Motion by Commissioner Peters. Oh, second by Commissioner Scott. Thank you. Any questions, comments?
One quick question, too.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have we seen any, I think part of the contract allows revenue to the county. Have we received any revenue to the county from this program?
Jill? Oh, Paul's there. Didn't see him in the back. Tries to hide.
Good morning, Commissioner. Excuse me. Good morning, Commissioners. Paul Sacco, Director of Solid Waste. The revenues actually depend on the markets that we would see. I don't have that information with me, but it depends on, it varies month to month. But I can certainly get you that information by month, over the term of the last contract if you want to see that.
Yeah, I was just curious, I think since 2021, if we've gotten any revenue at all.
Oh, yeah.
We have.
Okay, yeah.
I don't have that information with me, but it does vary. It's cyclical based on the markets.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
As long as Paul's up
Commissioner
here.
Scheer, go ahead.
Paul, what is it we recycle? What are we?
So we have actually standardized recycling for our collection centers that is sent, to our processing facilities. What we ask to be recycled would be your flat cardboards, your clean paper, plastic bottles, metal cans, glass bottles, things of that nature.
So when we collect it, does it go to the incinerator like everything else? Or
No, sir. The materials that are collected at the collection centers for recycling all go to a recycled processing facility.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
With recycled,
That facility, is that in Tampa?
I'm not sure who RSF uses. Some are in Tampa, some are down south, some are in the county here, so.
But we're sure that it gets recycled. It doesn't go to somebody else's landfill or go to somebody else's.
No, sir.
Because that's happened before.
It has, but not with our materials.
Just checking.
No, that's a fair question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of assume that, but, yeah. Good point. Commissioner Flowers?
Thank you very much. I know the recycling program is one that actually the residents really rallied for throughout our county and other places. And it's become a really big thing for those who want to separate out, even at home. I don't know what color the bins are in other areas, but in St. Pete, they're blue, that separate out for your recyclables, clean recyclables, no liquid in them, stuff like that. And if someone puts contaminated materials into a recycle bin, they ditch the whole bin because you can't mix that stuff. Just sharing that with you. Mine's blue. Oh, okay, I got a blue nice bin that I try to do. The only question I have is, this is a Second Amendment which extends their contract out through 2028. would we be putting this out for bid following this extension? Or would there be another request to amend the contract to continue extending services with them? I'm not saying we're not happy with them. And I know that there are limited companies that handle, recycled materials. And the whole intent really is for us to pick it up and make the money to be able to pay for the recycling service and some little pennies after that. But
I need to look, I think this is the last extension, so if it is the last extension, we would go out for bid. If there's an extension left, we would evaluate their performance, and if we're happy with that, we would bring back to the board the ability to extend for that last extension. But I think this is the last extension for that contract.
and like I said, I know that there are limited companies that,
Oh, there is one more.
one more.
Yes.
So as long as we're happy with them and they're doing the work.
They've been
and all
doing a great
that good
job for
stuff,
us.
We'll continue. Yeah, because I just know they're limited companies, but I also know on our end, we've been looking at, I know for me, I look at companies that are asking for an extension versus going out for bid, and if they're the best game in town, then, that shines through in the RFP process. So, thank you, appreciate it.
Just a quick question. I can't remember, so as Commissioner Latvala would say, it's probably because of my age, but do we have any further discussions, comments on the on MRF facility that would do some of this collection from our, they would collect the recycle, then we would do the processing, or it would take that group out of it, or would they still have a role in that?
They collect the materials and they take it to either their privately owned facility.
Okay.
Or who they contract with to bring the materials to another MRF. There are 6 MRF facilities in the region where the recycled materials are going, either commercially or residential. But the county as a whole, we've disengaged from that process.
Okay. Felt we had enough competition in the area, and we weren't getting the partners at the table?
At the time, we weren't getting the municipalities to the table that would guarantee the work or the
Right.
flow control for materials for us to build that facility.
Okay, but we feel we have enough MRFs in the area to do the
Right now, we do.
competitive, okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paul. And did we have a motion on this one?
Yeah, we have a motion and a second, sir.
We already did? Thank you.
We need a vote.
Could you bring up the card, please?
Excuse me, my motion seemed to have disappeared. Could you all vote again? Or,
Oh, okay, so we didn't make a motion.
I have a motion.
do
Okay,
you, oh, I don't know what happened to my apologies.
hold on. Hold on. So we did have a motion? Okay, all right.
It's already passed.
Yeah, I know. It was scoring as we went. Motion carries unanimously. Number 18.
So submission of 3 environmental, Florida Department of Environmental Protection financial responsibility forms for Class 1 injection well permit applications. In essence, these have to be completed by us for the Department of Environmental Protection. And then it states that we'll abandon the wells if they become inoperable. There is no plan to abandon these 3 wells.
It's up, yeah, I got a motion and a second by Commissioner Wickie. Injection well, effluent wells, differences, just somebody speak to that, please, and what that original well versus, go ahead.
Good morning, Jill Silverboard, County Admin. We're actually injecting the effluent. So it's
an effluent well.
reclaimed. It's the reclaimed.
Right.
These are the deep well, injection wells for the reclaimed, and we don't currently have them permitted for that purpose. So it is intended for effluent disposal during times of like a lot of rain, because we're not going to be able to discharge to surface waters anymore.
Okay, so that's
The product is the effluent.
okay, all right, thank you. Okay, bring up the card, please. Motion carries unanimously. Number 19.
Under item number 19, I'm recommending that you approve staff's recommendation that was set forth in the confidential memo that you all had an opportunity to review.
Motion by Commissioner Peters, second by Commissioner Flowers. Bring up the card, please. Motion carries unanimously. Number 20.
Under item number 20, I'm requesting authority to initiate litigation in the referenced case. This will be a mortgage foreclosure on property upon which we have some code enforcement liens.
Motion by Commissioner Flowers, second by Commissioner Scott. Bring up a card, please. Motion carries unanimously. Number 21.
Under 21, I do have another item that I mentioned last week during the agenda briefing. Again, this is a confidential memo that each of you had the opportunity to review. I'm recommending that you approve staff's recommendation. We walked this item on given some judicial time constraints that we need to have the board act on it today.
Motion by Commissioner Nowicki, second by Commissioner Peters. Bring up the card, please. Number 21. Thank you. One more. One more. There we go, Commissioner. Motion carries unanimously.
And I have nothing else under county attorney reports.
Okay. That number 19 keeps popping back up on the screen for some reason on mine. I don't know. It is? You know, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you just, for some reason, it's on the screen. And you had it on the screen, and then 20 popped instead, and we voted on that one, and then it popped back, 19 popped back on the screen. It just keeps you from being able to read anything on the agendas.
I'm sorry. I think I am getting the votes. They're showing all the votes on my program, but
No, it showed all the votes. It's still just on the screen. So it hasn't disappeared. The 20 came and it came on the screen, and then we took care of it. And then 19 popped back up. And then 21 came on the screen and we voted on it, and then 19 popped back up. So I don't know if there's a, all right. There it goes. Thank you. I don't know what you did, but it just happened. So, all right, County Administrator report.
Just a couple items. One, hurricane season is rapidly approaching, and now's the time we do all of our preparation and training. You'll notice in your inbox there's an opportunity for elected officials to go through an online training course. As a county staff, we all are required to do that, and most have completed that or in the process of doing that. But just pointing out that is another opportunity. But now's the preparation time before June. Couple other things. One, we have work sessions on the 16th and 30th. Those are full agendas. Legislative update. And again, ahead of budgeting time, we're going to go through all of our transportation and water and sewer systems. And so in preparation for discussions during budget around those capital items. We're going to do a strategic plan update discussion with you on the 16th. Moving on to the 30th, you've got power brokering, you've Care About Me, solid waste recommendations, Office of Human Rights program recommendation that you asked for, and then the downtown properties. So another full agenda. We're going to be sending you out several reports on things that you've asked for us to look at, and we'll provide those as staff reports, and then you can determine if you want to have a work session surrounding those or not. So we'll get those out, trying to complete all the items that were identified by you in the initial, kind of fall studies, we called it, I think, at that time. Now it's spring studies, and so we're here. So we're trying to wrap some of those up and get those to you. But over the next month, then we're going to be into budgeting, and so.
So at the 16th and the 30th, maybe you could bring those topics that you sent out to us, that we would then give direction on whether we want to.
Okay.
That'd be great.
We'll kind of bring those together. You mentioned it before, but phase 3 water restrictions, we're implementing those, obviously, and getting the word out on that is very difficult. So any and all avenues to alert people, and those are requirements from the district, not SWIFMA, not us, but we're required to comply with that. So again, that's a big deal. I went in and looked at my own, sprinkler, and when it's set, and I couldn't figure out how to reprogram it, so went and got my wife, because but it's set by, and, you know, and so you've got to comply with your day and stuff, and a lot of people won't catch that. And so to the extent we can get the word out to people, you know, the better, because I don't think they necessarily would look at that. It goes off in the middle of the night, you wouldn't know. So I am concerned about.
Do we have any notification in the bills?
They're doing everything they can on notification.
On the bill side?
Yes, but it's hard. It's hard to get information out, and so any and all.
Well, is it hard to get
avenues,
is it hard to get information out, or is it hard for them to pick up on it?
Pick up on it.
Okay, so we are putting them in the bills?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
And you know, I know Tampa Bay Water and everybody else has been, you know, publicizing this, but it's a big deal. And then lastly, we've been working on a tri-county meeting date, which has been difficult, and you notice folks across the bay have a few other things going on. So getting a date has been difficult, but we're trying to zero in on June the 5th, okay? And what we're also going to try to do is map out dates for all of next year. That way we publicize those well in advance. So I'm going to be meeting with my fellow county administrators here later, I think this month, early next month, whenever it is, and try to lock those in. But if you can put on your calendars, and we'll send this out to you, June the 5th, and what to be determined location. One of the things we're talking about is whether we just go back to the airport and make that the central location for all of them. That way it's kind of central to everybody. Yeah. And Veronica at the airport, you know, has offered that. We just haven't been able to catch her, so we'll do that shortly. So more to come. Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Chair. Barry, I just want to bring up at that, you know, there's going to be a TMA leadership meeting 9:30 in Tampa, and a lot of the officials will already be there, so you might be able to do it the same day. Save me a trip across the bridge. Just an idea. All the MPO directors and board members from the 3 counties and county commissioners are going to be over there for the TMA leadership meeting. It's on the 17th at 9:30 a.m. It usually only goes for an hour, so this month.
No, that won't.
There's going to be a lot of county people there already. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. Wow.
All right.
The last 2 meetings I've gone to, has Hillsborough been there? Okay, they weren't at the one that I went to over there, so good to see that they're back at the table. Okay. Yeah, I think that's too fast to pull off, but thank you. Yeah. Okay. Commissioner Scheer, you're up.
Thank you, Chair. You know, last year I spent a lot of time visiting with our our county division offices and learning about their operations. This year I've been spending time with our constitutional officers to learn more about how they interact with our government, with the county government and their needs. And a lot of it overlaps, like because I serve on the BTS and CJS. So I spent some time with Sarah Mullo in her office this last week. And that was a good visit, learning about her needs and what she does for the community, as well as State Attorney Bruce Bartlett. I met with him on the 31st in his offices on the 49th Street, and it was good to learn about how he works with not just Pinellas County, but his whole market, which is Pasco as well. So I appreciated the time I got to spend with them. On April the 1st, I attended a PSTA executive board meeting. On Friday, April the 3rd, I was able to meet with Congressman Brian Donalds at Krabby Bill's on the beaches. He invited many elected officials from the beaches in Pinellas County to attend a roundtable and to just basically let him know what our struggles and issues were here in Pinellas County, and I appreciate that very much. And then yesterday, I attended the groundbreaking of the Bluffs in downtown Clearwater. That was pretty great. Can't wait to see that building come out of the ground and see downtown Clearwater revitalized. So that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Scheer. Commissioner Flowers.
Well, thank you, sir. I'll go over just my few little things that I've been doing. I had a chance to attend online my NACO Justice and Public Safety Committee meeting. For those of you who serve on committees, hopefully you received the email saying that it's time for you to reapply if you're interested in serving on any committees due to the change in leadership with NACO. So if you didn't receive that, please go ahead and fill out that application so you can get it in. And then if you're requesting to serve on the board of directors or anything like that, you need a support letter from the Florida Association of Counties. So if you have anything like that that you would like to serve on, please make sure that you're emailing Ginger and/or Davin so that we can go through the process there and make sure you get all of that paperwork in. On the 29th, I had a chance to appear on iHeartRadio, which was a Sunday morning at 6:30 in the morning with Ed Rain, who is a former senator, used to work for Verizon, and now he is the community liaison, and I think I'm saying the title wrong, but the community liaison person with TECO. Some of you may have remembered Leroy Sullivan from back in the day when he held that position, but Leroy Sullivan passed away. So congratulations to Edna Rain. The radio show was, it's Women's History Month, and so it was highlighting me as a woman in the community and a leader in the community. So thank you all so very much for that. Thank you so much to Jill for going to a meeting with me in Gulfport regarding the Lincoln Cemetery. It was a very energetic meeting. The sad part is, in case if some of you had not heard, someone took their life on the Lincoln Cemetery property. And we found this out, I found this out the day before that meeting. So the meeting ended up being a lot about safety, security, and notification if the Gulfport Police is involved in anything that occurs there, so that we can take care of things appropriately. Nothing was settled, so hopefully they will be able to work it out. Again, thank you so much, Jill, for attending that, because we wanted to make sure that if the county had any oversight or any piece of that, that we at least were there at the table to hear what was being discussed. Also want to say condolences to Superintendent Kevin Hendricks. He lost his father. And so just want to send out condolences to him and his family in that regard. And then I just have two comments that I want to make. The one is the gentleman stood up and he talked about the water restrictions alongside of the continued development and construction. And I just wanted to take a moment to remind the public that Senate Bill 180 that was passed in 2025 prohibits local moratoria. I'm taking language from that bill. It prohibits local moratoria on stricter land use and construction. So some of what he was asking or coming to us and sharing, we're not able to do that. And then there is HB 803 that does exempt projects that are under $7,500 from having to go through certain permitting processes. But I know sometimes the public thinks that we can just automatically stop a developer from doing development. But if it is within the guidelines and parameters and they're building on the footprint, they're not asking for variances, they're not asking for anything outside of, then based on what we have on paper, we don't have a choice. We have to, say yes. So anyway, just wanted to share that. I do support conserving water. Everybody likes to take a shower and know the water's coming out. Everybody wants to wash their dishes and know the water's coming out. So I believe our partnership in Tampa Bay Water served to make sure that our region had resources. And, last night, I guess it was, I don't know if where you live, but I know in St. Pete it poured down raining for hours. And it was still raining when I left there this morning. But even with those torrential rains that we get like that sometimes it still takes a little while for the reservoir and everything to fill back up. So I just wanted to share that because I think we all sympathize with what the gentleman was asking, but wanted to share that some of our responsibility or some of our ability to handle certain things have not followed, and we're not able to do so. The last thing I wanted to talk about is we do have a gentleman that comes here often and talks about the false claims ordinance, and I've looked into that, and I've talked with a lot of different people from that. And you're talking about something that initially was set up in 1873 under the federal government. And over time, it's kind of changed its variances, and Broward County decided to do it. There's been one case that I found that dealt with a contractor, but the majority of the cases now for false claims are revolving around the medical community, not construction and development. So I'm not saying that they won't, but that's just not something I think that that's not something that I want to get into. And in addition, the person, the whistleblower is what they term them, so he would be considered a whistleblower. But they can receive, I want to make sure I get the percentages right. For whistleblowing, they can get 15 to 30% of any amount that you recoup. And I know he's talked a lot about we're losing money on the table, but then I just often question, why is he so consistent on this? Because if he files a claim or if he's the one bringing something forth, he can get a remuneration from it. My take on it is, if you know of something, and we've had people do this before, if you know of something that's going on in the county or in your municipality that is not right, that is wrong, that is illegal or whatever, you can report it. And you can make sure that that municipality or that county government, if it is proven to be factual, they will take the necessary actions. You don't have to enact this particular ordinance in order to do so. And we have had, at times, persons to make claims. They've been followed up on. Sometimes they're not 100% accurate. And then we've had individuals who brought things forward that have been accurate, and they have followed the appropriate process. The only reason I'm saying something is because, you know, when you get a couple of calls about, well, this man says y'all leaving money on the table, and we have a policy where we don't interact with them while they're up there speaking. And I just don't like leaving things unclear or leading the community to believe that this commission is not being good stewards of the daily events that occur within our county that fall within our purview that we could do something about, and we're not doing something about it. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to share that information. You know, this goes farther. I think it has more reaches and more likes than my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account. And and for those of you that may be my friend, you see that I often go on there and I try to update people on things or whatnot. But I just wanted to share that information. I didn't want anyone to think that we are not taking our responsibilities seriously, and in cases where things are happening that shouldn't be happening, that we are not seriously looking at them and handling them in a professional way. Last thing, Good Friday. So it's late, but happy Good Friday to everybody. And I sincerely hope you had a wonderful, relaxing Sunday, Easter Sunday on yesterday. I say Resurrection Sunday, so I apologize in advance for anyone that may call it something else and I'm not using that name, but I sincerely hope that you became refreshed and renewed, ready to take on the challenges that are set before us. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Flowers, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I attended the Career Source Tampa Bay Board meeting. I attended and spoke along with Commissioner Scott at the Heritage Village 50th anniversary celebration. And the highlight of that day was, and you may remember this, Mr. Chairman, they had a picture of their ribbon cutting from 1976. And some of those outfits were pretty, they were pretty interesting. There was some plaid and whatnot, so.
That was
yeah.
that was right
And we may have joked that you may still have a plaid suit in your closet somewhere.
Wow.
But that was a nice.
Plaid has come back, though.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, plaid has come back.
I mean, I wanted to point out until I noticed the audience that was attending that I was not born in 1976. But it was a fun event nonetheless. And they do fine work at Heritage Village, and I congratulate them. I also attended a presentation at Lift Academy, which is located in Clearwater, designating the Juvenile Welfare Board as a certified autism center, which now JWB is the second such location in Pinellas County that is a certified autism center. So the employees at JWB have received special training to deal with autism. And there's another location in Pinellas County. So there's a group that puts on the training and the certification. And also, thank you for asking, Commissioner, because there is a op-ed today in the Tampa Bay Times from one of the JWB employees on autism.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
So is by they getting certified, are they then providing training to all the agencies that they have contracts with, so that all the agencies then can understand and know how to work with children with autism better?
Yeah.
That's what the purpose is, because children don't go to JWB.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood.
But Becky Albert, or Rebecca Albert, is the main employee at JWB that, and I don't exactly know her title, but she's the one who wrote the op-ed that's in the Times today.
Okay, well, that's wonderful, and the more awareness, the better. Thank you.
I also visited the Pinellas County Jail with Yak last week. That was a lot of fun. And on an unrelated note, back to JWB, we had a meeting yesterday and took a vote, and I wanted to congratulate Mr. Glenn Gilzine for receiving 6 votes. He's not the CEO yet. We're having another meeting due to our bylaws, where I suspect he'll get 6 votes again. And there's been a lot of issues and whatnot the last few weeks or the last couple months. And I wanted to give a plug to our county attorney, who's helped me through some of those. There's been some threats with litigation and attorney letters that I don't quite understand, but she's helped me navigate those. What I'm afraid is people have lost sight of what JWB is about, and that has nothing to do with Glenn, but I'm afraid that there are others that have lost sight of what JWB is there for, and hopefully Glenn will do a good job, and I congratulate him.
Appreciate that, Vice Chair. Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I attended the Clearwater Rotary Police and Fire Awards event at Bel Air Country Club, and I think you were there, weren't you?
Yeah, it was
and
great.
I think there's a couple, I forget, but I think there was a couple other folks there as well. But it was a very, very nice event. Went down to the Arc Innovation Center, had a meeting with their CEO, Becca Brown, just a site visit, just to kind of catch up with her and see what was happening down there. And well, they got a lot of really cool tech incubator companies down there, some AI permitting, a company that's creating platforms to go out in the ocean and launch rockets from the ocean. I mean, like what? Right? Some very interesting energy storage, like backup generator energy storage type companies. Some really interesting tech that's going on down there. So if you haven't visited there in a while, I encourage
Is
you
that
to
launch
to
and
do that.
land?
I don't know about land.
All right,
I don't,
okay.
but
Anyway, it's pretty
yeah,
amazing.
But regardless,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to launch it, they do land them. So I would assume. But I had a chance to tour Discovery Academy of Science School in Clearwater, K-8 school, doing really well. Got about 850 students there, and they're growing. They're expanding. They're actually going to be building another K-8 school, and then they're looking out to the horizon of 2030 to have a high school as well. So they're really doing well, focused on STEM, a lot of robotics, 3D printers. I mean, some of the stuff that they're doing in there is, I mean, in their art class, they have a 3D printer. So it's a pretty interesting technology that they're working with. Had a good meeting with the new mayor of St. Pete Beach, Scott Tate. was at Historic Heritage Village with Commissioner Latvala. And, yeah, and we were really looking in that picture pretty deep to see if we could find Dave in there, but not sure if you were in there or not, but we were looking pretty deep.
That's one's enough, thank you.
Attended the Hope Villages of America Masquerade Gala. That was very, very well attended. And that was at the, what was it called? The something on Palmetto. Really interesting place there. A lot of historic cars, a lot of historic fire engines. A really, really interesting. I encourage you to check it out if you haven't seen it. Met with members of the Terra Verde Next regarding the proposed marina development. Also participated in the Business Roundtable with Commissioner Scheer there and Commissioner Wicki for Byron Donalds. This past Saturday, I toured Patty Reed, council member for Pinellas Park, brought her a couple of horses, and we met her at the Walsingham Equestrian Park across the street from Walsingham Park there. And Commissioner Peters joined us, and we went horseback riding.
Any pictures?
We do.
I want to see. Are you?
Well, they're not here.
I didn't see them. I want to.
Well, Dave, you got to follow us. That's. I mean,
do follow you. I missed that one.
We'll give you a lesson on how to use social media, Dave.
Wow.
But what this all started from is Patty and I were talking one day, and she talked about the 50-acre equestrian park in Seminole across from Walsingham. I said, there is not a 50-acre horse park over there. And she said, yes, there is. And I live not far from it, and I could just see what you can see from the roadway. Well, I didn't know there's trails that there really is 50 acres back there. And it goes all the way back, and it was, and they leased from the county for $1 a year since the 80s. And, you know, it was just nice to kind of be back there and realize that you're in the heart of Seminole, and never knew it was there. I've lived in that area one way or the other for almost 40 years and never knew that was back there. It just underscored the beauty of that type of green space that we have so little of anymore, and that I think that we just need to make sure that we preserve that forever, and it just doesn't become a live local or something at some point in the future, because it just reminds us of that. You know, this county at one point was not so built out, and there was very much an agrarian economy that revolved around it. So I'm sure Commissioner Peters probably have a few comments about that as well.
So I assume you did Western.
Say what?
Western style riding, or did you do English?
We were just walking. We weren't like, you know.
You weren't on the horses?
Oh, no, we were on the horses.
Okay, so what were you riding? Western with the saddle?
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not a horse guy, so you know.
Thank you,
The
Commissioner.
two of us were on quarter horses, and Ricky Butler was on a paint.
Ah, beautiful.
Right.
Love it.
I need a pony. I'm just saying. Remember when they had the horse farm right on Almerton? The interstate is there now, but they used to have the little horse farm, and you could take your kids and they could ride the little ponies.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where I went riding, right there with
Okay.
ponies. Yeah.
And the sheriff's office bring in some ponies.
Yeah, it was fun.
That looks good.
Yeah, just in time for the budget.
No, that's perfect. I love it.
And then lastly, I, along with Commissioner Nowicki, Peters, and Eggers, was at Draper's 10-year anniversary yesterday. They had a nice celebration there, and Commissioner Nowicki and I had a chance to tour their facility. Amazing technology they're working with there. I mean, really, one of the projects they're working on is new guidance systems for the Trident missile program. You're like, what? It's just amazing technology right here in St. Pete, Pinellas County. So we're lucky to have them.
Didn't realize they had so many facilities all over the country.
No,
And when you get on their website and you see how many job openings they have at the different facilities, I mean, they're really rocking and rolling on their on expanding their business. So we can get a little bit more. I said, do you want me to make comments about the fact that you're relocating from Massachusetts, the headquarters from Massachusetts here? And he goes, oh, I'd love to see their reaction. I said, no. So they're not going to be relocating their headquarters, but it's a pretty neat company.
Yeah,
Pretty
absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Commissioner
All right,
Scott.
thank you.
Commissioner Nowicki?
Thank you, Chair, and I agree. I mean, Draper was a great event yesterday, and, you know, I think it's a testament to, you know, innovative and creative thinking, and, you know, really appreciate the opportunity, you know, that economic development reached out to us, and I don't know if there's more opportunities that, you know, we as a board can go to do more tours or be more involved with economic development, but, you know, I think it was a great opportunity yesterday and look forward to more events like that. I also attended that was my first time doing a jail tour with YAC, and so it was you know, the variety of things that inmates can make, like prison cheesecake through their commissary spending is quite creative inmates. But our sheriff and the people that protect the jail and work there do a great job, and I think it was great that YAC got that exposure to it. I had a one-on-one with Brad Miller, and so I'm excited. He promised me that we'll have you know, cost and subsidy per ride at our next board meeting. I know I've been asking for that for a couple months, but he told me in our one-on-one that, you know, we'll have it at our next board meeting, so we can really get a breakdown monthly of what each route, the cost is per route each month. So it'd be exciting to have those figures. I'll be attending a Man Up event, which is breaking the cycle of generational fatherness this Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also doing a teach-in on Friday. It's a follow-up teach-in to third grade, where one of the school board members said that they can bring better cookies than what I can bake. So we have a little bake-off between Dawn Peters and myself in a third grade class this coming Friday. So I'll report back to let you know I'm going to fight really hard, and I got a lot of years of eating cookies experience, a little bit more than Dawn. So
Make us proud.
I'm gonna make the board proud and bring a variety and really go for size too, not just taste, but big cookies. So exactly. So I'm looking forward to winning that. And there's no trophy, but if we do get an award for the best cookies, I'll be sure to bring it back.
We'll bring cookies back.
I can bring some cookies too. Good idea, Chairman. And then also just being transparent. I got an email from the COC, which is a board that I serve on, removing me from the board because I've missed 3 meetings. Though I previously talked to the chairman, where one of the meetings I was in Baltimore. My mom had surgery for a brain aneurysm, which she said was an excused absence. And then we also had a tri-county meeting, which overlapped one of their meetings as well. So their charter's, pretty vague, I guess, that can remove even elected officials if they may miss 3 meetings. It doesn't say that they shall be removed. And so I really think it's, and I tried to talk to the chairman and the CEO of the HOA, and they both kind of refused to talk to me, after they sent me an email just, kicking me off. But I think it's, partially tied to, I brought up in commission meetings before to look at the funding that we fund, the COC and HOA. In one of my first meetings, I was instrumental removing a lot of the DEI language in their strategic plan. So, so I really think it's more political because they also kicked off the city of Clearwater. So they're not holding people equally. This 3 meeting miss, which they have this requirement that you have to be present for the whole meeting, which some of them run 4 or 5 hours long. And as you all know, we all have pretty intense schedules. But a lot of them are virtual, and they make you be present the entire time. You can't even have your camera off, and if you leave virtually, they count that as you not being there at all. So they really have these really strict, and so I think they're targeting some of the electeds, because I know City of Clearwater reduced their funding, what they were funding. So I really think they're just trying to make a political statement. I'd like to continue serving on the board, but I just wanted to be transparent and bring that up to you all to keep you all in the loop.
So I have some thoughts, but first I have a question for Joel. This would be a board that a county commissioner has to sit on, right?
I do believe so, and I did look into it a little bit. There is a designated seat for a county commissioner there, and I'll confirm that because I do want to pull some things. I know that they were discussing this. I spoke with their attorney about some of the issues going on there. They do have the bylaws, and I would have to read. I haven't read the provision he's talking about recently about removal, but I do believe a county commissioner is required to be a member of that
So
board.
I
And this is
move-
established by federal law,
Yeah,
so.
I move that we appoint Vince Nowicki to the COC.
I second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
And I have some thoughts after I can say my thoughts before the vote or after.
Well, Vince, what is the attendance policy? Do you know, is it three
Yeah, I mean,
meetings
so-
in a year or
Yeah,
three consecutive?
3 meetings in any 12-month period.
Oh, 12-month period.
But any 12-month period, so it's not just a set 12-month period, so they could move it, 1 month up, 1 month back, so it's not even like a set, it can be any 12-month period. That's what it specifically says. And it says maybe, not shall, so they're, I think,
Not consistent.
yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I
Yeah.
can just interject, because I served on the committee prior to him, I will say that it's not targeted, and I'm not just saying that, it's not targeted. It was because we were having difficulty with quorums, because persons were not coming to the meetings. And so when it got time to vote, like when we were applying for some federal funding and whatnot, we didn't have a quorum to vote for it, so we missed out on a lot of opportunities, and we could not conduct business. Even when I got there, they had the 3 missed meeting rule. And I had to appear sometimes on Zoom because I was out of town with FAC or something like that. So I'm just sharing with you, Mr. Nowicki, I'm not discounting your feelings. I'm not discounting your feelings. I'm just saying that even when I served, I was held to those same 3 meeting rules. They had that before I got there.
Was yours virtual and in attendance? Yours is all virtual now? Or-
Ours, when I was there, we were in person. Some persons did come on. The option was you could come on virtually, but you didn't have the ability to vote. And there's another committee I serve on. I serve on Area Agency on Aging. I'm on their board of directors appointed by you guys, thank you. And if I don't appear in person, I can appear online, but I can't vote.
But that's not a miss. You're not considered missing
It's
a
not
meeting.
considered a missed meeting,
Okay.
but I just can't vote. But I just wanted to share that part, that piece has been there as far as if you miss 3 meetings in a 12-month period or the year, which is, every year whoever the chair is could appoint someone else or whatever, that you were subject to removal. And some persons did get removed, and their organizations were asked if they could send another person. But I'm just sharing, that did happen under mine when I served. So it was, yeah.
And to
that's something.
respond to that, your question, so some of their meetings are just virtual now, so it's not a hybrid as they've done before, but they have, like our last meeting in January was just virtual. So, if you wanted to show up in person, which if it was almost 4 hour, that one meeting was almost 4 hours.
Wow.
Where you have to be there the entire time, or you don't count for attendance, and that's why they removed Councilman Menino in the city of Clearwater, because he had to leave after 2 hours of the meeting, and, they removed them from as well, so, but to answer your question, some are in person, but then they have just virtual ones where you have to be present the entire time.
So, and back to somebody's question about funding, how much do we fund that group, Barry? Do we know?
I
We
think
provided
Matt
that to
Spore may have
Commissioner
an answer.
Nowicki, so I don't recall off the top of my head.
I think it was between like 300 and 500,000 a year.
Yeah, I think there's 2 different grants that we provide, but
And the
I can look
appointment
it
of a commissioner was as a result of, after they did set up the homeless shelter and all of that, and then COC became the overlaying board to oversee homeless throughout the county rather than like the city of St. Pete, city of Clearwater, city of Largo. And so a part of that whole compilation, because I was on city council in St. Pete at the time, a part of all of that compilation was that there would be support, joint support in funding. So I don't know the exact amount, but that's how each municipality and county government got a seat on that board, was as a result of all of the homeless things coming together.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Who is the chair of this board?
Chair is Kathleen Beckman.
So, and I don't want to get political on the dais, but somebody who's not elected is, I think, like I have a real issue, and I don't care which commissioner it is, but I have a real issue with somebody who's not elected to office having the power to kick an elected member of this body off a board. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a whole nother point. And, I mean, Ms. Beckman was elected to office at one time, ran for another office, and that election was not exactly close. And so I have a real issue with this. And, you know, if they don't want our member on their board, they don't need to have our residents' money either. And so I'm in favor of putting Mr. Nowicki right back on the board. And I think this is something that we should take a very close look at come budget time. And if she wants to, during the budget, if she wants to come and explain why she's smarter than the city of Clearwater and why she's smarter than Commissioner Nowicki, she can certainly do that, but.
Yeah, I just don't understand the strict attendance policy because, you know, a lot of us have to we do what we can to go to part of the meeting and even tell somebody, hey, can you move something up on the agenda because I have to leave just so we can weigh in on it. It happens all the time. Lord forbid that you get a phone call and you have to put it on mute and put it on, you know, and then take your phone and then come back and then you're considered missing a meeting. So I wouldn't mind if you don't, I mean, I'm hearing a motion, I heard a second. Did you have a comment? I'm sorry.
Just a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do y'all talk about for 4 hours? I mean, seriously.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of, you know, point in time homeless count, you know, different federal funding grants.
It's a statistic, right?
Yeah.
It should take 5 minutes.
You know, and then a lot of people, you know, that may not have as many other boards, you know, as I serve on 10 and you serve on how many, so maybe some other folks don't have as many opportunities to talk, and so they use that, there's their, you know, once a quarter opportunity to get some, you know, press time, I guess, on almost a 30-member board now. It was up to almost 30
most of our
people.
meetings don't go 4 hours.
I mean, their last information session, which I attended, I mean.
He's been raising the time, but go ahead.
I mean, their last information session, I mean, they talked about housing transgender children. So, I mean, it's.
Oh, that's a lengthy discussion.
Yeah. So it's, and that was the very last information, you know, so, and nobody else from the executive board was on that information. So I try to go to other meetings that I'm not even required to go to, just to know more what's going on. And, you know, I guess.
Barry?
You asked a question about how much funding we provide them. There's 2 separate grants. One is for operations, that's $302,000, and one for diversion, that's $140,000.
Okay. So to the question at hand, do you want to be on the board?
Yeah, I'd love to
You want to continue serving?
Yes.
You want to continue asking constructive comments and questions and providing good value?
As I think I always do, Chair.
I'm just asking for
unless you see
reaffirmation, so
otherwise. Yes.
before we take that vote, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I really would like to get a handle on what that attendance policy is, because it does seem unreasonable.
Yeah, I
Again,
can email the.
especially if you have 30 members, if 23 show up, that's still pretty good. I mean.
Yeah, and even in one of our previous meetings, we were voting to do hybrid meetings because they didn't allow hybrid meetings, and then the board voted not to allow hybrid meetings that you could attend in person or attend virtually, but then they went to just virtual meetings. And as I brought up before, I mean, there's been how many different, like, I think 7 different CEOs in the last 4 years.
So. Yeah. Well, again, yeah, I just don't, I'm just not sure
But
I
I'll be happy to
understand.
share the charter of the COC and bylaws with everybody, or that snippet if you'd like.
Well, that's fine. And we are required by state law, are we not, to have, we can have, as long as we have a majority in the House, we can have a virtual piece to it. People can report or work.
That is consistent with the opinions that are
Right.
out there, exactly as you said, so long as you have physically present
Right.
a quorum. But there's the additional requirement for those that are present to take a vote to allow the other
Correct.
person to participate,
Understand.
and that may be what's happening here. I will say, I just pulled up their webpage, and they show Pinellas County and Clearwater as vacant, and they call them entitlement positions. They also show City of Largo to be vacant, also an entitlement position.
That's all of District 5. I mean, I want to, I feel personally affronted. But I just want to point out that when we have these different boards, these boards are not more important than our role that we got elected to. And, I've had boards, JWB was a perfect example. They used to have meetings that conflicted with our work sessions. And so there were 4 or 5 meetings my first year that I had to miss because coming to a work session was more important than going to a JWB board meeting. And it didn't matter who the county commissioner was, they weren't going to be able to go. And so him having a tri-county meeting that he needed to attend as part of his job, for them not to look at that as an excused absence is just preposterous.
I agree. You made a comment earlier, did the board member, the chairman, make the sole decision on it, or is it voted on by the entire board?
So it says it's an automatic removal unless it's voted on by the board of directors. So it could have been placed on the agenda for conversation, but the chairman, I would say, then exercised her liberty to automatically choose to do so.
Again, a little harsh.
Even though it
given-
says may and not shall. So, and then I tried to call the chair, and she refused to talk to me on the phone because I just wanted a little bit more clarification. I just finished up a one-on-one with our administrator, and I told, Barry, I said, I just got an email that they're kicking me off. And so I called, right after the chairman to say, hey, and she's like, I'm not talking to you right now, and I'm like, well, this is important to me. And then I tried to call the CEO, left her a voicemail, and still never heard a call back.
I'm convinced, you represent this board on that thing, and so you'll be a well-behaved individual and always,
What is that?
I'm teasing.
Is he not well-behaved?
I am kidding.
Is that an ageism thing because you're
Yeah.
older than?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I was going to say something, make fun of him going to Yak with the rest of the young people,
He's part of the mentorship program.
No, it's tongue in cheek. Okay.
Mr. Chair, can
Yes.
I-
Yeah.
Mr. Nowicki, I'm just gonna ask you to, and you're grown, you got elected like everybody else, but I'm just gonna ask that maybe, and you know what I'm talking about, just go to the meeting. Don't wear your hats.
Well, yeah,
Well, hold up.
Okay.
And I understand that there was comments about what Ken did when he was here and he had on the shirt, and that ended up being a big article in the paper and all of that stuff, and taking focus away from the business of the commission. I'm not Ken, this isn't the same commission. But I do know that when we go to those meetings where we're representing the body, you take away, this is my opinion, you take away from the focus of the purpose of the meeting when things are done that distract from the focus of the meeting. You don't have to do what I'm asking. I'm just asking as one of your colleagues, because I got calls, I know others got calls, I got emails and all of that stuff. And I said to them what I'm saying to you openly today, and so others here. I can't tell him what to wear, what not to wear. I can't tell him what to say, what not to say. He was elected like I was elected and the others. But I'm just asking because you know that you knew that was gonna get a rise. And it just turned into this big issue. And so, I'm just personally saying, and that goes for anybody here. That goes for me too. That goes for me too, because I don't do it. I would love to wear my Black Vote Matters, or when they were making us paint over the Woodson Museum mural and all of that stuff, and I oppose that. But I didn't do that because I wanted to be professional and respectful of my colleagues. And I wanted to adhere to an unwritten rule that we're just a step above some of the craziness that goes on in other places. So that's just my only ask. And again, it has nothing to do with you being removed, anything like that. I didn't even know you had been removed until today, or that they were voting for. But I'm just asking if, let's just focus on the work.
Of course, and to speak to that for the rest of the board, I believe in full transparency. I was wearing a Save America hat in my own house, so it wasn't even an in-person meeting, and there was no.
Oh, they sent me a screenshot of the.
Yeah.
They sent me screenshots.
Yeah.
Of
So I was in my own house, and I think it was the way it was approached. Like if it was how you just framed it, but trying to kick me out of the meeting instead of saying, hey, Councilmember Fig Sanders, who brought it up, could have sent me a message, hey, Commissioner, I don't know if you realize the hat you're wearing, maybe you could, take it off. But instead of saying, you need to get kicked out of the meeting or take off your hat, those that know me, I'm not a shy person. And so I'm going to respond a certain way. And so I think with her experience, she could have, handled it a little differently, and I would have gladly.
She wasn't the one that reached out to me, but I
Yeah,
get it. She
yeah.
probably reached out to someone else, but I got it from
Yeah.
a myriad of people.
Yeah, so
But I
I
do appreciate, and I couldn't, because it was blurry, I couldn't see if it said Make America or Save America. And I wasn't even getting into that.
Yeah.
I gave them what I just gave you. And the rest, that's the response I gave.
For sure. But I just wanted to let, maybe not
But I
everybody else
appreciate
knew, so I just wanted to give them the full context.
I
of that.
appreciate it.
But it was, in my own house, and didn't even realize it because they made me turn on my camera because I had people working at my house because I was doing some construction. And so I had my camera off and didn't even realize the hat, like I wear every morning, proud to Save America or Make America Great, I'm proud of. But if it was, someone sent me a message, I probably would have taken it off. But thank you, Chair.
Understand, thank you. Commissioner, you good? Okay, any other comments?
Just FYI, like even Fort Pinellas requires you attend, you can't miss more than 3. Theirs is clear, it's a calendar year, but most of the committees have that caveat. Very few enforce it. I mean, very few enforce it. And so this is very unusual. And I would have concern if it was a trend with all 3 cities, and it became political. And it,
Well, if you have
on the
4
surface, it might look like it, but I don't know. But
if you have 4 or 5 hour meetings, that's a problem.
that's a problem.
And secondly, we would encourage you to come to this meeting, even if you have to leave halfway through it. Because
if you
you're at least
attend-
here. Yeah, we want your part, even if it's only half, and that
If you're
shouldn't be.
there at roll call, you're there.
Yeah, exactly. And the idea, again, back to the original question, do you want to continue serving? And you said yes. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. Anything else, Vince?
No, Chair, I yield back, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Peters.
We have a new commissioner that's taken up lots of time. But that was worth it. I know if, that wasn't, it was my poor attempt at humor, but it was worth the conversation.
Yes.
So I had a great time at Draper's Anniversary, and I have toured it before. It's fantastic. And it was good to go back there. It was kind of nice. Horseback riding was amazing. We took the bridge over McKay Creek, and I know we're working on McKay Creek, and I have some questions about McKay Creek that I'm going to get with Kelly on as a result of that. And there's a couple other things I want to get with Barry and Kelly on related to McKay Creek and kind of what we learned. And I concur with Brian Scott. I would like to put a protection in place on that 50 acres so it can never be sold. Like for conservation or whatever we need. Right now, we have a lease on it. I haven't seen the lease. I was going to request the copy of the lease, whoever I request that from, to see what that lease is, how long it is, and what we could do if we need to. Maybe that land's preserved already. I don't know. But I would like to never see anything built on that land. So whatever we have to do, I really think it's worth moving forward on protecting that 50 acres to make sure it stays conservation land or something like that.
I'd have to look into that. I mean,
We have a charter provision that allows, and I was just pulling it up to look at it. Is there an official name for the area? Because there are several areas listed in our.
Yeah, I just read the charter,
Okay.
and I didn't see that specifically listed.
You can add it's for environmental lands, and it says additional county-owned lands may be designated as environmental lands, subject to the provisions of the charter by adoption of an ordinance by the county commission.
So I just
If
want to
we
look
own
at the
it.
lease and see if there's something already there, just to make
own the
sure.
land?
But I would like to make sure that that stays permanent conservation land, and never gets built on it. So if we could make sure that gets on a forward agenda, so we can do that.
Hold on one second. Barry, did you have a comment?
We'll look into the particulars about that.
And one thing I will add, it does state here as well, if it is designated as an environmental land, the county cannot sell, convey, or transfer fee simple without a referendum. It also provides that it may not be leased or licensed for longer than 10 years
Yeah, I saw
without a
that.
referendum.
Okay, so that could affect that lease, so that's why we got to look at the lease. Because I don't know how the Association of Horsemen's has the lease for $1 a year, the Horsemen's Association. And so we'd have to see what that lease says, but I do want to see what we have to do to protect it. So if we could get a copy of that lease, that would be really helpful. And there's some other land I'm interested in too, as well. That's, I think there's 15 acres attached to Lake Seminole. Barry, I want to talk to you about that, and if that is not already protected, because Lake Seminole is listed on there, I don't know if that particular parcel is also included, so we'll have to look into that. So definitely want to move forward on that. I had office hours in Lellman and met with several organizations, and I'm going to be doing that whenever they have availability. I hate taking space away from that organization, but since I don't have an office, I do like to have a place that I can meet with a bunch of people. I toured Baycare's Behavioral Health Urgent Care in Pasco. Kudos to Baycare for doing the great work that they're doing up in Pasco County. It's amazing. We're hoping to replicate something like that here in Pinellas, and it was really good to see what they're doing up there. I spoke at Mainlands. The residents were not pleased about the status of the landfill. We had some equipment breakdown, and so therefore they feel their quality of life has been impinged. I want to thank Paul Sacco. He offered to come with me to that meeting and listen to the community and answer their questions. And they had a great deal of questions. It sounds like he's got a resolution coming short term, and so that's good. And then I also spoke at Clearwater Rotary, and I want to congratulate Ken Burke for being in the top 250 elected official award. Getting that, I think that is awesome, and it's a wonderful thing that we can celebrate our clerk and our clerk's office and his staff. And I also want to thank everybody at the St. Pete Clearwater Airport and everybody that has been donating and contributing to our TSA agents. They've been getting gift cards to get groceries and food, and there has been a huge effort to bring donations in so those TSA workers that are not getting paid have some kind of benefits. And Metropolitan Ministries has been offering to let them go grocery shopping and so they can get food. And I just want to thank all of the partners that have stepped up to take care of our TSA agents at our airport. I want to commend them and I want to thank them, and I think it's wonderful. And I'm just so pleased that our TSA agents are showing up to work, and I just want to applaud them all and the airport for coordinating all of that effort to make sure that they're taken care of. So kudos to our airport and the staff at the airport. Kudos to the partners, and big, huge thank you to the TSA agents for coming to work.
Are they in need of more? I hadn't even thought about it.
I know, and well, I had a meeting with a staff at the airport, and she filled me in on all this, and I was like, I wish I would have known, because we could have done so much more. But they are doing an outstanding job at coordinating it all, and that's more work for them, but they are doing it, and they're doing it happily because they are so grateful. And I'm just really happy and pleased, and shall it ever happen again, we will never forget, and we'll jump up and,
Should we reach out to Michelle Rout to see if we want to send something or help?
Michelle's the one that's coordinating it.
Okay, all right, I'll get some gift cards.
Okay. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the airport, to Michelle, to everybody there that is doing so much to keep our TSA agents coming to work and happy. And this is the busiest time of year and really demanding for them. And I'm so grateful. So thank you.
Chair.
Yeah,
Well, and I don't know, Commissioner, we have, there's an office space downtown that I use in St. Pete, and so I don't know if staff could maybe share that information with you, that we have a space downtown St. Pete, that if you need to have meetings or something.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, just, garage parking.
Actually, that would be great, so thank you. I'll look into that.
Yeah, because it's a long drive,
Well, it's a long, either where I
Yeah,
go, it's
yeah,
a long
yeah.
drive. So
I
if
just
I
wanted
come
to-
here, if I go to Loma and I go there, it's probably all 30 to 40 minutes, so
I just wanted to remind that.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
if I could find one in West St. Pete, it would be perfect.
Thank you, Commissioner Peters, for those kudos to those folks, because, and our airport, just amazing. I mean, they're involved with Honor Flight, they're involved with, they embrace the community and to the agents that they're helping out too. That's great. Appreciate you bringing that to our attention, as well as the comment about Clerk Burke. What a great guy, and not only did they do great work, but an honorable, high-character leader of that department, so appreciate that comment also. I'll try to go quickly through this. Had a grand opening of a second Southern Barbecue over in Oldsmar. He kid I coached a long time ago, started his own business. I think it was a month after COVID started in Dunedin, so he couldn't get any help because he hadn't been in business long enough, and he had already invested so much that he couldn't let it go, and it still survived that, and he is doing great, and he opened his second store, so kudos to Cam, and folks know who he is. So Dansville grand opening after 27 years of dreaming and working with the community to open that park up in honor of Dan Henry, who really was there. His grandson, a couple family members were there. And a beautiful new park and lots of potential, lots of fun and activities, and already asking about having special events and how he has to go about doing it. So we try to set him up. We have a new park ranger that's going to be taking care of that park, and he grew up in that area, and so he's excited about that. So I just think it's just a lot of good things going on. I love hearing the story today from our folks at Habitat about 99 homes that they've built, and that amazing. So thank you. Continue to bring that up. Had a feast open house, one of our homeless, not homeless, for food impairment up in Palm Harbor. They had a nice open house for the community. The Chairman Powell was there and kind of led the charge, and we were going to have a little program, and it just turned out to be so wonderful, just meeting all of the volunteers there who do the work on behalf of the residents that day. And there were people with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years that they've been doing that volunteer work. So it's near and dear to a lot of people, and that demand has grown exponentially in Palm Harbor along with other communities. So really hats off to that group. Was able to do an interview at the Dunedin Historical Museum on the history of the Toronto Blue Jays in Dunedin. It was really good. See how it turns out, but they reached out to probably a dozen people that have had some interaction with in the history with all of that. So it was really good, and I appreciate the museum kind of bringing that together for posterity. Let's see, Bel Air Women's Club, you mentioned the first responder and law enforcement presentation for the City of Clearwater employees. It was really good, always good to see that. Mentioned Draper University, just a really good afternoon. Ran into a friend of mine who had started an engineering company probably 25 years ago, just him and his wife starting it, grew it into this big company, and just recently sold it to a larger company, and but they do work with Draper. They're strong engineering firm. So it's nice to see smaller companies and bigger companies coexisting like they do. Pinellas County Citizens Academy graduation is tomorrow night, I think, correct? So I've had a couple people out in the public just talking like, this is the greatest program ever. People need to take advantage of it. So whenever we do that, we get the word out. And we have, how many folks do we have? 34, 30, 35 people this year. So really, really good a way to learn more about what goes on under the hood here at the county. So, and then I guess the sheriff's annual award ceremony is coming up on Thursday, I think at 4 o'clock, Indian Rocks Baptist Church. A lot of us go to that, so just make sure you get a chance, go see that. The Dunedin Dog Bar ribbon cutting. They have a new dog bar that's been in business. They're having official ribbon cutting Friday at 4 o'clock. Chamber of Commerce, Dunedin Chamber of Commerce is going to have it. Great little concept, really crowded, really busy. It's pretty neat. So get a chance, swing by there. They'll have some food and perhaps some drinks too. But anyway, Dunedin Highland Games this Saturday. Kind of starts early in the morning. I think they have official ceremonies around noon, and they have a good time. A lot of, obviously, the cultural base of Dunedin is remembered every year. They have a lot of music, a lot of dancing, a lot of vendors, et cetera, a lot of fun. So Oldsmar Days Parade is also on Saturday, so I'll be over at that, and that's always a good time as well. Looking forward to the Holocaust reading on April 14th down in St. Petersburg. Sparks Arc Labs Code Box graduation ceremony coming up on the 17th as well. And that group is just fascinating. I'm really liking the energy. I went to an event probably a few months back, and it was packed. And it was packed with a lot of young people, middle-aged, older folks, all interested in those new innovative technologies that are kind of hibernating right there and cultivating and then growing into a business and doing good things. Probably jobs that, you know, probably our kids or maybe even some of our grandkids will really get into later on. But good work being done down there. So, let's see. I think that's all I had. I did have one final thing. I handed out a summary of Sergeant Nicholas Flowers, who I wanted, you know, we're going to bring that back here for a final vote, probably in May at the second meeting, renaming a piece of, you know, County Road 1 from Tampa Road to Curlew. And I know I got your all's head nod last time. I wanted to hand this out to you so you guys had a little bit more understanding of what the young man was all about. His mom is actually the president of the Gold Star Moms in the area, and she's just excited and delighted that her son will be remembered. So very cool. Just wanted you guys to know about this, and I'll probably be bringing it to that commission meeting for your approval, and then we'll have in the field kind of ceremony after that down the road. Okay. So yeah, did you? Oh, yeah, no, that's great. And we don't have to go to the state for this one, so it's kind of nice. And that is all I had. Is there any? Yeah, Commissioner Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. So just the conversation we had about, you know, doing what we can to preserve those 50 acres in Seminole there for future generations to enjoy got me thinking about Heritage Village again. And back in 1976, there were a group of people and organizations that had the vision to preserve that. And here we are today, and we have this real treasure in Pinellas County. And when I was there with Commissioner Latvala for the commissioning of those historic homes, it occurred to me that we don't have like a founder's wall or a founder's plaque or something to acknowledge and memorialize those specific organizations and people that did that had that vision and put in that initial sweat equity. So I mentioned this to Tom Schofield and Monica while we were there, is that since this is the 50th year of Heritage Village and the 250th year of the United States, we're going to be doing a lot of events there throughout the year and throughout the summer, that if we could create something like that and have that incorporated in another event and have an unveiling and maybe invite the groups and the people, to the extent that they're still around, that had that vision then, and just have a way of honoring and memorializing their contributions to what we have today as this real treasure in Pinellas County. So, Barry, I know we got a one-on-one, I'll bring that up to you, but, so just kind of a thought. I think it'd be really nice
Yeah.
if we could do something like that.
Yeah, I think it's always good to have that kind of recognition instead of having, having to create new benches just to remember somebody. It's nice to be able to pull it together.
Like you go in any YMCA, right, and there's that founder's wall.
Yeah.
Right, it's just, I don't know, something like that to just memorialize that those organizations and people in 1976 that said.
And think about,
"We're gonna
you're
do
talking
this."
about that historical perspective, but that historical perspective can include organizations that led the charge for new land, for environmental lands too. I mean, we could make it more than just about this historical, and not that that's just, I didn't mean it that way, but you could incorporate a group that led the effort for West Klosterman Preserve, for instance. I mean, anyway, just think through that a little bit in your process, see if it fits or not,
Sure.
A great idea.
Yep.
That's a great idea. Anything else? Yes?
She was talking about where she wanted to take me for lunch.
Okay. All right, I guess that with that, we are adjourned.